Right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well. I am awaiting guests, so you will just have me. And unfortunately, my headphones don't work, and also we're not exactly zoomed in or focused in properly. Bit of a shit show today, but it won't be a shit show. We've got lots to talk about. A lot to talk about. We will have our part regular panel guests coming through, being Nick from Echo Base Network and Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark as well. So don't worry, we will have individuals turning up. Let me just fix this focus issue. I hope you're all well anyway. Weirdly enough, my Bluetooth has just randomly switched off and I can't switch it back on. There's no button to switch it. It's as if the laptop has just decided you don't have Bluetooth anymore. Like, it's very frustrating. I don't understand, and I'd like to understand. So bit of a pain in the ass, not gonna lie. But we'll get nice and focused. You look at me on 1080p quality. Yeah, baby. So ladies and gents, I want to actually cover a straight topic just by myself straight away. Because I need to talk about Dread 2. It's been doing the rounds. Loads of people have been talking about it as if this thing is happening. Loads of rumors, rumblings. People have done videos on it. I've been tagged in it on Twitter, and I've just got to chime in on it. You know I do. Dread was my jam for ages. So let's talk about it, and then we'll kind of see. Well, let's look at the article. God damn, let's just look at the article. Right. So, I mean, look, it comes from Giant Freaking Robot. Straight from the off, I am less inclined to believe anything from Giant Freaking Robot. I don't buy into any of the stuff that they've got going on. This was released like 5 days ago. People are doing videos on it. And the report says their exclusive, fucking whatever. Their exclusive says that there's been rumors that Judge Dredd franchise was set to continue as a new series being discussed called Judge Dredd Mega City 1, which, if you didn't know, ladies and gents, I interviewed Brian Jenkins and Jason Kingsley. So, and I interviewed them, like, we're talking like, was it like 2017 or 2016? I can't remember. The interview's on the channel. And I got like an actual exclusive, which is more than can be said for Giant Freaking Robot. And they said there and then that, this was never going to be a Dread sequel. And I spoke to them about some other bits and pieces, and they can't actually, without paying out a lot of money, they can't actually do a Dread sequel because the rights are a real big mess. So just bear that in mind, right? However, there have been no mention of who was going to be cast in the titular role. That's because Dredd wasn't going to be the actual main character. Like, I read the pilot script as well. Also, leaving behind the idea that a sequel to hit Dredd movie was also not going to happen. Now, through our trusted and proven sources, what's that, HP and fucking Hines, we can report that Dredd 2 is moving forward with Carl Urban. So, let's dive into it, right? It's not often that a reboot is seen as a better version, blah, 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 whatever. Dredd 2 is bringing back Carl Urban, is also exciting, as the man had been campaigning to return to the role. He had, during the GQ videos on YouTube where stars break down their most iconic roles, Urban had stated that he had hoped he was going to be called about being Judge Dredd again, but would also be happy just seeing the franchise move forward. This also does beg the question that Urban's role in future Judge Dredd projects like the previously mentioned Mega City 1 series. So Dredd 2 securing Carl Urban could mean that this is meant to portray Dredd in the expanded universe that seems to be getting put together. Urban has been fantastic as Billy Butcher, blah, blah, blah. So they say this Dredd 2 sequel could lead to Urban taking on the role for the series as well. So they're saying that this is a movie. Nah. And I called some people today about this as well. So I could chit-chat to you about it all. Urban was so good in the role of Judge Dredd that he did not even need to remove his helmet. Just not removing the helmet is Judge Dredd. This is how This is why you shouldn't believe shit rag articles like this. The mere fact, right? The mere fact, ladies and gents, that they even say Urban was so good in the role of Judge Dredd that he did not need to remove his helmet to showcase his acting. You don't need to. That is the character of Dredd. Giant freaking robot. You don't know what you're talking about. You absolutely don't know what you're talking about. Now, they also make some mention of Dredd 2 bringing in Judge Death. That was actually going to be the plan. There was actually a plan in place. So, anyway, they say Dredd 2 with Karl Urban currently has no timetable for release because they're making it up and they don't want to tie themselves to something. So, they're putting something out there speculative, basically, right? That's what they're doing. So, they're putting it out there speculatively to see whether something happens. This is what Giant Freaking Robot does. So, let's just break it down, okay? Because I've been tagged in on Twitter. People have asked me about it all. And I've replied on Twitter. Follow me over there at Mistakes Reviews. The likelihood of this happening is so incredibly low for a few reasons. So the way that this film got made was like it was massive pooling of various sources and income and loads of different sort of production houses getting involved, which means it's quite a messy, tangled web of rights. I Am Global being quite a large part of that, which isn't, as far as I'm aware, either I Am Global isn't a thing, but is a thing, but people have disbanded from it that worked specifically on Dredd. It's kind of a shit show, right? And I know firsthand when I asked Jason Kingsley, the owner of Rebellion, the owner of Judge Dredd character, the owner of the comic 2000 AD, I asked him straight. I was like, look, is Judge Dredd Mega City 1 going to be a sequel? What is it? And they said there and then, very, very much straight up, no, it's not. They could do it, but they don't want to. And it would be really expensive as well. Now, Jason Kingsley's not him making financial decisions that are not necessarily the best straight away it's not unheard of, right? He bought a massive studio space in Didcot in Oxford, which I've been to. It is huge. It's massive, and they've done nothing with it. So it's not unheard of that he makes really quite large financial decisions and doesn't really do anything on the back end of it to make profit. I'm sure he will eventually. I'm sure he will. But as it stands now, they've done fuck all with that space. Literally nothing at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come up for sale, and someone else acquires it. So him buying Dredd back, because again, he owns the character of Dredd, it is his character, but that character of Dredd, technically he doesn't actually own. Doesn't technically own Dredd as a film, the 2012 Dredd 3D. Doesn't technically own that. So he'd have to buy it. Karl Urban, he was being courted to come back to the new character, the new version of this character for Judge Dredd Mega City 1. But he had some pretty key big demands to do it, which actually Jason Kingsley wasn't prepared to do. He wasn't prepared to meet those demands. There was some sort of conversations and they sort of broke down here and there. Basically, huge roundabout way to say this just is not likely to happen. You've got such a slim chance of this happening anyway, and then you base it on where this information has come from, which is Giant Freaking Robot, and you can all but certainly confirm that this is just straight up bollocks. Absolute straight up monkey doo-doo, pee-pee poo-poo, right? Not good. Absolute garbage. So there you have it. There's the first story straight away. Dredd 2, is it likely to happen? No. And you know what? I want it to happen. Don't get me wrong. I love Dredd. I watched it recently, actually, with a buddy of mine. And boy, howdy, it's a good film. The sound mixing is a little bit messed up. I watched it with a surround sound cinema speaker system thing, and the sound mixing is really messed up. It's ultra loud when the sort of all vehicles are steaming by, and then when the guns are going off, but then the voices are really badly mixed. The sound mixing was terrible on that film, but it's a beautiful film. It's one of the best films. It's one of the best comic book adaptations ever made. Now, it's not a direct comparison of a comic book adaptation, like with the things that they could have done better. Yes, but it is one of the best comic book adaptations made. Not necessarily everything in Judge Dredd's world, translates to screen, but they included the fatties, Recyc, Chief Justice, like everything was there, but brought into a realistic vibe. They did such a good job with that movie. So I would want a sequel. This is not me poo-pooing it because I'm like, fucking great. No, I would love a sequel. It's just not likely to happen. Not likely to happen. It's a tangled mess. I do think that there's even a video from Adi Shankar on YouTube explaining why there can't possibly be a sequel as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm very much certain there is. And it's relating a lot of the stuff which I've just said. The rights are all over the place. That specific version is owned by loads of different people. And even when they were asking Carl Urban to come back for the TV show, which they did do, the outfits were going to be different. It'd be a similar vibe, but it wouldn't have been the same universe. They'd have just said, this is Dredd. And it would have been Carl Urban, but it wouldn't have been a sequel, if that makes sense. It's like a quiet, soft, here you go. You want him back as Dredd. We'll give you him as Judge Dredd. Not technically the same one, but technically the same, basically. So there you have it. Dredd 2, unlikely to happen. And you know what? Sad, because it would be great to have that film. But I also think it should be handled with other people as well. Like Jason Kingsley owns the character of Judge Dredd. He owns the IP. He owns 2000 AD. But also, you wouldn't want him behind it as a creative force simply because he wasn't there behind Dredd as a creative force. So if you like Dredd, you wouldn't want someone else as that creative force either. And I think that's a perfectly fair statement. Not to insult anyone or bruise anyone's ego. You wouldn't want him behind it either. So it's kind of good that it's not happening. Personally, I think. But there you have it, ladies and gents. So there you go. First story out the way. Still waiting on everyone. God damn. Annoying, but never mind. Ladies and gents, I'm still trying to find some. I thought I had some more headphones around here. Tell you what I do have. Yeah, right. That's ginger beer, homemade. Loads of weird stuff sitting around here. Where are my headphones? I've got no headphones. It's all just through this. I do have them, but my Bluetooth just doesn't work. These work. The Bluetooth on the laptop seemingly has stopped working. So we got loads to cover today. But I do want to wait for Nick to drop in because I want to talk about the new James Bond, potentially anyway. But just to give you a brief rundown, we're going to be talking about the rumored James Bond, Avatar, PG-13 rating, The Witcher, Cocaine Bear. Love that idea. Samuel L. Jackson coming out and disputing Quentin Tarantino's statements. Not cool. I think he's a plum for doing what he's done. Interestingly, I also want to talk about Emily Blunt slamming Hollywood's idea of a strong female lead, which I think's brilliant. She came out full steam ahead. Brilliant stuff. There's actually lots to talk about. Lots of really interesting stuff. Anyway, what's this? No bad ideas, just stupid ones for £17.99. Thank you so much. Says first-time fan, first-time donor. Much love, my dude. I just want to say you should react to the trailer called The Mean One. That's all I'll say. I have, buddy. So I released that at 12 p.m. a.m. I released that at midnight last night. So you being in the UK, because you're donating in pounds, you probably didn't see it, buddy. But I actually did react to it. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And this goes back to an earlier stream we did where I discussed it, and it's even there. There's a clip on the live stream channel where I'm like, low budget horror movies will be what saves Hollywood. They'll be saving Hollywood now. There you go. Lo and behold, obviously a lot of this stuff's been in the works for a while, but there you go. Low budget horror movies. That's it. I was right. That's just it. There you go. So yeah, I think it looks great. I'm really excited for it. Let me just check my YouTuber messages. This meeting, my boss needs me to handle a project. Blah blah blah. It needs immediate attention, so it looks like I'm going to be longer than I thought. Maybe an hour tops. Bumholes. Right. Well, we'll continue as if it's just me for now, ladies and gents. Just because I've got to juggle people coming in and out. So, just as a sort of housekeeping rules, not housekeeping rules. What am I on about? We've got a new channel. It's a live stream channel. You'll find it linked in the description box now. Mr. H Reviews live archives should be pinned actually to the top of this stream. And that's where all live streams go. It's where live stream clips go. And that's it. It's a new separate channel. It's where all the live streams go. This goes out obviously on the main channel, but then goes over there afterwards. So hit subscribe there, turn the bell notifications on. Because if you can't watch a whole 2-hour plus stream, then you can go there and watch the highlight clips, which are great. They're good fun. They take a long time to do. It's like double the it's triple the work. In fact, actually, it's a lot of work. But anyway, subscribe over there. That'd be really cool. If you want to join in the conversation, you want to support me, you want to support what I'm doing here with this live show, just in general, have your comment read out. Because generally, obviously, there's normally a panel, so we're talking, and then I get to super chats periodically. Do a super chat, basically. It's a good way to support the show, good way to support what I'm doing here, and get your voice heard in the conversation. You don't have to, but it's a different format than what it was before. I hope you understand. Night King 01 for $4.99 says, this is completely unrelated, but USA won against Iran. Now it's them cause Netherlands next game. Now it's them cause Netherlands that game. I don't know what you meant by that, buddy. Yeah, I just don't care about football. I'm one of these weird British people that doesn't give a shit about football or soccer at all. Kudos to you if you like it. It's not my cup of tea. It's just not my jam. So yeah, Mixed Blood. Paulie, unfortunately, is not. He's doing some other work, basically. He's unable to come today, which is really unfortunate. I worked really hard and diligently on getting a regular panels. He's coming in on Thursday. Don't worry about it. The whole solo stuff, this is a rare occurrence. I know some of you guys really like it, but I've had so many compliments from the panel that I've managed to sort of, get together for this show. And yeah, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. It's still going to continue. He was just unable to come today, which, I completely get. It's fine. I get it. Paulie's my dude. He's a legend. And you'll find actually links to everyone that is a panel guest here, a co-host, links to their channel in the description box. So what are we going to do now? I spoke about this already on the main channel, but I want to get onto it here as well. Just for posterity's sake, for individuals that may not have seen it. But let's talk about the new potential James Bond. And it comes in the form of Aaron Taylor Johnson, which a load of people instantly hear that and they're like, what? No. Aaron Taylor Johnson is rubbish. Because you see articles like this that lead with him being in Avengers Age of Ultron, and you go, like, why? That's not what you should be doing, guys. Like, what you should be doing is saying how good he was in Bullet Train. Because everyone that has commented on the video I did where I discussed this, everyone who likes this, everyone who really likes this as a potential, references Bullet Train. Now, it's whether you like that film or not, I don't think that really matters, but him in Bullet Train is fantastic. He's so good. He's so good in that film. So let's just a quick dive into this again, just to sort of recap and cover for those that didn't know. But there's a huge amount of excitement surrounding who will ultimately be chosen to play the next James Bond, with many fans concerned that their top picks, Henry Cavill, Idris Elba, Jamie Dornan, will be aged out by the time the next movie finally begins shooting. A few things to note on that, right? Jamie Dornan, no. Just no. Not at all. Not interested. I don't think anyone's really interested in that individual playing James Bond. Awful decision. Awful speculation. Would be a terrible James Bond, and I'm more than happy just to throw that out there and say it. Idris Elba, unfortunately, will absolutely unequivocally be aged out by that point. And I even think as well, Henry Cavill will be aged out by that point. Henry Cavill's no spring chicken anymore. He's in great shape, but he's not going to continue for the length of time that they want the individual to be playing James Bond for. And I really like Henry Cavill as a pick for James Bond. I think he'd be fantastic. I think, and I always reference it, but I always go back to what's it called? The Man from U.N.C.L.E. What a fantastic sort of test screen, I guess, for James Bond. Brilliant. However, producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson recently said they're looking to find an actor who will commit to the role for the long haul, with the latter later following up by making it clear that they're not planning to cast a considerably younger actor as Daniel Craig's replacement. However, they're looking for someone in their late 20s or more like their early 30s. That is still considerably younger than Daniel Craig. Like, considerably younger. So, all right. But early 30s, I think, is a good pick. So, enter this new rumor, which is Aaron Taylor-Johnson. He's 32. They talk about Kraven the Hunter. Sure, whatever. Like, he's got in pretty good shape for that. Sure, fine, whatever. But it's not that matters. It's how he was in Bullet Train. He was incredible in Bullet Train. So funny, slick, sophisticated, really, really believable with the gunplay that was involved in that film. So good. So good. But this is the news anyway, right? And take this with a massive pinch of salt because it comes from The Sun, which is a renowned shit rag. So not good. But according to The Sun, the British actor has emerged as the front runner for the role after taking part in what they described as a top secret screen test. Which is like when you hear that, you're like, well, how did you find out then? Like, come on. Whatever. So-called sources tell the tabloid, which isn't the most reliable source of news, known shit rag, that Taylor-Johnson impressed Broccoli with an audition at Pinewood Studios. He's a British actor as well. One insider is reported to have said Aaron went for a test screening to be the next Bond in September, and producers and Barbara, loved him. He's now one of the front runners. So sure, whatever. The thing about The Sun is, a broken clock is right twice or something like that, twice a day. I don't know the saying. But anyway, they have been right in the past. So still take it with a pinch of salt, but they have been right in the past. But he was really, really, really good in Bullet Train. He was very good in Bullet Train. And in terms of him, I guess like rising sort of stardom and power, right? Like he's actually being quite smart about what he's choosing to do. He's gone from, Kick-Ass to, it was Kick-Ass, wasn't it? Kick-Ass to, I don't know, Avengers, not the specific stepping stones, but goes from Kick-Ass to Avengers, then jumps up to sort of smaller films that, you don't really recognize him in that much. He was in Tenet as well. So again, like sort of side characters. So you're still seeing his face around, but he's reshaping himself as a character in the public eye. Because once you play like quite an iconic character in Kick-Ass, you risk being typecast, right? So he's quite smart about it. He's choosing sort of different roles. They're substantially different roles, but he's not necessarily front and center. And that's important. That's really, really good. It's a good way to sort of reshape your image in the public eye. And then again, does Bullet Train, where he is pretty much front and center, and he was pretty much front and center in a lot of the marketing material because he has a really good fight with Brad Pitt. It was in the trailer where he's like, "Do you want anything?" No, I'm all right. And he's obviously a bottle of water. And then Brad Pitt smashes him with a bottle of water. It's brilliant. Bullet Train's fun. Good. Go watch it. And so it's a you know, a fairly steady, good progression for his career. I can see it, and I also think he would make a really good Bond. I genuinely think he'd be a good Bond. I think, like, what characteristics do you need for Bond? You know, got to be in shape, sort of. Obviously, the older Bonds weren't. We all get that, but you've got to be in shape enough for people to believe that you can be a womanizer to a certain degree, right? And it's dependent on what look they're going for, whether they're looking to go for, well, I mean, there's whole different terms of male looks these days, isn't there? But you know, it seems to be with Daniel Craig and things like that they will potentially want to maintain that approach, that sort of masculineness. Anyway, he's that suave. I think Bond is a little bit sleazy. I said this in my other video, and people were like, "No, not sleazy. He's suave. Suave's you're looking for." I'm like, "Well, no, not really." Because Bond, you know, bags a lot of chicks, and you got to be a little bit sleazy in it. He is very sleazy in his approach to stuff like that, which is fine. Like, I'm not gonna kick a man. Do your thing, bro. So, but I think Aaron Taylor Johnson could do this. I think he'd be very, very good. I think he'd be good, very, very good. And people saying he doesn't have enough star power. Daniel Craig didn't have enough star power when he became James Bond. He wasn't really that well known, Daniel Craig, and he hadn't really done that much in the way of a film where you could sort of justify that name being pulled out. I mean, I remember when he was cast, people weren't like, "Oh yeah, great!" Like, people were like, "Hey, what?" And then people saw, you know, there was that famous shot of him coming out the ocean and stuff. People were like, "Oh, okay, you know, he's built like a brick shit house now." He wasn't a star power either. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson's a good pick. It is literally just a case of rumor at this point, but I like the pick a lot. I think that's good. I think it's a good pick. So let's get to. We've got a super sticker here from Al Humphreys. Thank you so much, dude, for £4. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate everyone joining in the conversation, because it is just me at this point in time. So if you want to join in the conversation, it's not me looking like a dickhead talking to myself. Contribute, basically. You know that I'm joking. I'm joking. I always look like a dickhead. Anyway, Miss Zen for £2. Says, I would love a movie with Lemon and Tangerine. Yeah, they were great. Lemon and Tangerine were great. The comedic timing of Aaron Taylor Johnson, some of which I didn't realize he had, right? He genuinely has good comedic timing. Didn't realize he had it. Cool. Really, really good. Like, I'm all for it. Genuinely, I'm all for it. So, yeah. Pretty decent. Please do hit that thumbs up button, ladies and gentlemen. It goes a long way to helping out the show as well, helping out the live stream, because YouTube's been really weird lately. We're 25% down on impressions, massively. So when we were sort of so low on impressions, everything else, basically, YouTube videos are not being put in front of people's eyes. It's really weird. 25% down is a lot, like a lot. It's very annoying, very, very frustrating, and it's nothing's changed. It's just YouTubers clicked a button, basically. Very, very irritating. So hitting that thumbs up button would be great. Thank you. Corky's chilling. Hopefully that's your dog. Is your dog's name Corky? Because if it is, great name to have on here. Great picture. Aaron would be an excellent choice. A good actor, great looking and young. Yeah, he fits the bill, right? Like, he fits that bill. I think it'd be great. I think it would be very, very good. Nicky, you matched the Datsun sign. Well played. Well, what I was actually doing was I was doing my. I wanted to do my sort of, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator impression, you know, with the red polo. That's what I was trying to do. You've butchered it now. You just think I look like a Datsun sign. Ridiculous. Wanted to do the you know, not to a Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator polo shirt. That's it. Damn. All the Bonds weren't superstars when cast. Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly. So people know it's not just a scheduled video to something. What are you talking about? Does it help when the word live stream or some other identifier is put in the title? No. I don't think so. I don't think that matters, in fairness. But yeah, maybe. Need a cigar and aviators to finish the Arnie look from Predator. I do, don't I? I do. I don't smoke though, so I couldn't. Right, anyway. Oh dear. We're just gonna plow on. Just keep plowing, as I say sometimes. Plow. Just keep plowing through this, ladies and gents. I want to take a brief moment actually to talk about Kanye West and Timcast. So I caught this online. And interestingly, Nikki has literally just said, only douchebags like Milo wear sunglasses indoors. Yeah, I always think of that. I always think of that song. I wear my sunglasses at night. Awful rendition. Please don't clip that. So whenever I see someone wearing their sunglasses inside, I always think of that song. I'm like, you're a penis. You don't look as cool as what that song implies you look like. All right? Shush. So I want to talk about the Kanye West Timcast situation because I tweeted this out, and I watched it this morning. It's been all over the internet. Obviously, naturally, it's been all over the internet, and it's been a really interesting turn of events, I think. Now, if you don't know what this is, Ye or Kanye turned up and did a Timcast IRL, whatever his bloody fucking thing's called, Timcast IRL. Did one of them. And Kanye walked out, right? He walked out after about like 20 odd minutes. And he walked out because fundamentally, Tim Pool is not an interviewer. He doesn't interview people. He can't interview. He has an awful interview style. And wait, I will back this up as best as I can. But he himself even said it. So I tweeted this out. Says, watch the Timcast Ye interaction. Interesting stuff. Because it is interesting stuff. No matter what you think of what's been said, because this is the important distinction between what we're going to be, talking about here. Whether you agree or you disagree with what Ye is saying, that's not what we're talking about. It's an interesting interaction because regardless of the topic and the thoughts being questioned, Tim is, unfortunately, a hypocrite, as he himself will not be challenged on anything he believes. And so the fundamental basis behind Kanye leaving was an interaction where, Kanye says he's been cancelled, lambasted in the press. And Tim uses the general they as in the press. Now, obviously, Kanye's been using the they as a broad stroke for Jewish people who are in power, essentially cancelling him, right? That's what he's been using it as, and Tim used it in the broad stroke context of, hey, this is the journalist media. They tried to do this, and they treated you poorly. And the thing is that there's very clearly like a fundamental breakdown of the reason why Kanye even went on there to begin with, and why Tim had him on there. Because after Kanye walked out, Tim went on a tirade for the rest of the show, literally the rest of the show, saying how he was there to talk about the news. Tim, mate, no one watching that wants to hear Kanye's opinion on the fucking news. Literally, no one wants to hear Kanye's opinion on the news. They want to hear what Kanye's got to say about what he's been saying, because that's interesting. To get someone to sit there and actually just discuss it all is that's an interesting opportunity. And literally no one was watching that to listen to Tim Pool's opinion. Everyone knows what Tim Pool's opinion is. He had 100,000 viewers watching because they wanted to watch Kanye, not Tim Pool. Big difference. Big difference. And he went on this massive tirade about how, no, I got him on. I don't owe him anything. He doesn't owe me anything. I won't have him on again. And I had him on there to talk about the. I had him on there to talk about the news. And he just wanted to. He just wanted to talk about himself. It's like, that is literally why most people were watching that, Tim. No one wanted to hear what your opinion was on anything. Everyone knows what your opinion is on everything, Tim. Everyone knows because it doesn't change. It remains the same week on, week out. It's singular. And the thing is, never, ever, ever watch Tim for his guests. You should never watch Tim for his guests. Why? Because he doesn't interview them. He's not an interviewer. And that is fundamentally revealed in this interaction. Now, again, in terms of, so Kanye walking out was already sort of foreshadowed in the beginning of his sort of discussing stuff, where he's like, I'm not going to be, I'll just walk out if I'm going to be surrounded by people that, saying this and saying that and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh, okay, right. So he's already foreshadowed that he's going to leave. He's going to walk out. He's not going to be happy there. So he already foreshadowed that. And then what happened was the discussion of the broad stroke by Tim saying they, the media, the journalists, and then Kanye obviously alluding the they to Jewish people. Kanye asked, well, who's they then? You don't want to say who they is, do you? We know who they is, or something along those lines. And, we know who they are. And instantly, and this is why Tim is not a good interviewer, because, a good interviewer just lets their guest talk, and you just gently tease information out of them, right? You let them talk. You can watch the interviews I've done with people. They last hours for a good reason, because you're just looking to interact. You get them to monologue, and then they'll say something interesting. And you go, oh, so what about that? And then they give you more stuff. And it's interesting. It's fascinating. So, Ye said this thing, and instantly Tim goes, no, dismissive, no. And one, you don't say that. You've got to meld your personality to who you're working with. You're dealing with one of the biggest artists that was around. He's not he even said in the interview himself, he's learning to be an adult. He's learning to grow, because when you become famous, you essentially stop growing and you stop maturing, which is actually a really quite a smart thing for him to say. So you're essentially dealing with a child, and you're dealing with a narcissist, because he's one of the biggest artists out there. And then you have someone going no to him, already saying, I would walk out of this if I'm being challenged on these things. No. Boom, straight away. What do you think's going to happen, Tim? You absolute reprobate. What do you actually think was going to happen at that point? And then he went on a massive tirade of basically saying, I don't know him anything. He wanted to talk about this. Yeah, he did. Why? You knew why he wanted to come on your show. Obviously, he wanted to talk about it. Obviously, he wanted the platform to discuss it. Really, is that lost on you, Tim? Like, for goodness sake. Absolutely, for goodness sake. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, I thought I would just cover that briefly, because I thought it was funny, because, I say it's comical that when Ye left, Tim banged on about not being able to give his views. Tim, your views have been the same and they've never changed. Your stance is singular. It's repetitive to the degree of nausea. We know your views, but people did tune in to hear the views of your guests, because that's the only reason they tuned in. They didn't tune in to listen to Tim. No one, 100,000 viewers weren't there to listen to Tim, right? At all. They were there to listen to Kanye, and for him to give, information on. And the thing is, regardless of what Kanye was going to say, whether it was going to be anti-Semitic or not, it doesn't matter, because that's Kanye saying it. And people are like, we shouldn't platform people like that. It doesn't matter. The individual touting it will destroy their own careers if that's the case, right? Like, that's just fine. Like, it's fine. Like, let them do what they want. It's not a big deal. You should platform people with ridiculous ideas, because then it gets into the public. This is why Twitter being censored all the time was always wrong, because you cause people to go down a rabbit hole rather than airing their views on a public platform where people can then challenge them. And it could have been that he revealed his opinions and actually had it revealed, actually had it teased out properly, where, yeah, they were incredibly anti-Semitic. And then boom, everyone knows it. And then his presidential run, which is rumored to be 2024, absolutely blows up in his face. Okay, cool. Then everyone gets what they want who hates him and his views. But it could have been revealed, conversely to that, that actually his opinions, although appearing to be jumbled, had, a basis for credibility, and they weren't intentionally anti-Semitic. There's multiple avenues that could have gone down, but it didn't get anywhere because Tim Pool fundamentally is a shit interviewer. He doesn't interview people. He said himself he's there to talk about the news. Why have guests on then, you giant peen? Like, no one wants to listen to Kanye talking about the news. Read the room. Anyway, I had to talk about that because I had to get that off my chest. And I wish other people were here to talk about it as well. I wish Latino Slant was here as well. But no, it's fine. I hope you. But I'd love to. I honestly, everyone's opinion on this. I mean, Nikki drops in for $5 and says, "Look, I know people hate Tim, but he barely pushed back on Kanye. How would Kanye handle a presidential debate?" No, I agree. I agree, right? But when you're an interviewer, and this is why Tim's not an interviewer, when you are an interviewer, you let people dig themselves a hole. So you don't actually need to push back. You question, and you question in a way where you go, "Oh, okay, so could you just explain that?" And if they say, "Well, and you go, "What? I think I know what you mean, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Could you explain it?" It's all about coulds, not shoulds, and it's not it's not finite statements, especially not dealing with someone like Kanye. You always let them reveal themselves. You tease it out of them like that. But yeah, there you go. Tim needs to take a break. Yeah, I don't know. But the thing is, no, everyone wanted to hear about Kanye talking about, the Jewish, his views on Jews. That's the only reason people were tuning in. Maybe a little bit about the Trump thing, and maybe a little bit about what the hell was going on with, Kanye and 2024 presidential run. But it was mainly about his views. People wanted to know what the hell was going on, which is a justified thing. People want to hear it. They want to go, what the hell is going on? And Nikki says, look, I hate that Milo and Nick were there. Yes. And I agree. And I actually do. I fundamentally believe that, like Kanye's not well, right? Like he's not a well person. We know that, sectioned, institutionalized, all these kind of things. He's not well. And when these people sort of gravitate around him, it's very much, you very much view it from a perspective of people taking advantage of someone, right? Like that's what it's what it seems like to me. It's like someone taking advantage of someone that's not well. They're very unwell, and yeah, like someone like that just needs help at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know, but I wanted to cover it, needed to cover it. Was important because I covered it over on Twitter, and I want to talk about it a little bit more. Basically, don't go watch Tim Pool for the guests because you'll never get what you want them to actually talk about. And he even said that. He's in his stream. He even said, "Yeah, well, I've had Blair White on here loads, and she even said to me, we've not once spoken about trans issues." Do you not think people watching that wanted to hear Blair White talk about trans issues? I think so. Like, you would have thought so, right? God. Basically, what Tim Pool is a wannabe Joe Rogan, but without actually interviewing people. He wants to talk about the news with people. He's Joe Rogan if they both sat down and had newspapers. And much shitter. Anyway, Night King 01s for $4.99 says, I remember when Gary from Nerdrotic went on Tim's show, it was really weird. I don't watch enough of Tim. I've watched, well, I've watched enough of Tim to realize any piece of news that is out there, you know exactly what you're going to get. Absolutely, unequivocally, you know what the opinions are going to be, and it's boring. I can't be bothered. Not interested. I'm not interested to listen to someone which has a very singular opinion on everything, and it doesn't change. It's unwavering. Not interested. I just don't care. I tune out quite a lot from these sort of podcast websites that tend to be all the same after a while. You know, when I look at the news and I look at the people discussing it, and I can guess what they're going to say, and then they say it, that's when you know you need to stop watching them, because there's just no point. Absolutely no point. You've already guessed it. What's the need to talk about it? You know, what's the need to watch it at that point? And I'd like to think there's a certain element that I avoid from that when you guys watch me. I'd like to think, you know, you come to a movie review and sometimes you're like, hey, what? You actually like this? Wow, okay. And vice versa with some news or trailers and things that you know, you watch something and you go, oh wow, okay, you actually like this, or oh no, you dislike this. I thought you would. And like, you know, I'm not trying to be a contrarian. It's always my genuine opinion, but I'd like to think that, you know, I'm pliable enough that that doesn't remain, you know, all the same. Anyway, says Brian Christgau says, yo, Mr. H, do you have a PO box where we can send you stuff? I'd love to send you comic books, free comics, man. What's cooler than that? Yeah, so I do have a PO box actually in the description box right now. You can see it there. Yeah, I don't have a lot of time to read comics, but you can send me whatever you want, guys. Absolutely, please do. Finally. God, I'm not by myself.
You've been by yourself this whole time, man?
Fucking hell. God.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
Jeez. Yeah, I know. Fucking hell. God.
I had no idea.
Unbelievable. Right, anyway, it's saving me from my solo play today. That sounds rude. It's Tom. How you doing, buddy?
I'm here. Sorry it took so long, but yeah.
Nah, it's all good. Nick, unfortunately, is doing a bit of a work thing, and Paulie couldn't make it today either. So just a perfect storm of shit show for me to be monologuing by myself. Did you watch the Tim Pool CALNE thing? Have you caught any of that?
I saw the clip. So, I mean, I have an idea of the context, sort of, kind of. I mean, I know some of the background, but I don't know everything that's going on, like complete ins and outs. I know Kanye has supposedly had this thing where he's been freaking out about Jewish people lately. Supposedly somebody took over his Twitter or something or other. And then
all over the place.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to give me like a quick rundown just so I'm kind of up to speed with everybody else, but yeah.
Mate, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think you could possibly get a quick rundown on it.
Okay, well, the best you can tell. What would you plan on getting into anyway?
Well, basically, what happened was he went on Tim Pool, and Tim Pool had him there to talk about the news, just random bits of news. And Kanye obviously wanted to talk about, you know, the sort of anti-Semitic Jewish element, and they clashed on that because obviously Kanye thought it was something else. Tim Pool thought it was something else, and Kanye walked out basically. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I saw the blow up or whatever. Him leaving the. I wouldn't even call it a blow up necessarily. It's just Kanye being Kanye when he doesn't get his way.
Exactly. Basically. You have to be. I mean, you've interviewed people, I'm sure. Like Andre's interviewed people. You've got to be pliable to your guest, right? You have to be.
Yeah, there's the other side of it too. Yeah, I don't know the whole story, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's get to some super chats briefly. So Mexican Iron Man, nice to have you in, dude. Says one of the best things about this channel is that you judge each offering an issue on its own merits, and so do the guests you bring on. Bravo. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, try to. You know, I think inevitably there's unequivocally a certain amount of bias every now and then for sure. But I try to keep it as, hey, look, let's just look at this. I mean, I'm still trying to be excited about Indiana Jones, for goodness sake, right? Like I do try here, you know, like I'm not just going to go, oh, well, it's Disney, so it's going to be shit. Disney have made some good stuff. Andor's fantastic. You know, I'm not.
I'd like to be surprised.
Yeah. Well, but this is the thing, right? Because I have been surprised by things, I'm very much open and happy. Right, okay, let's just have a look. You know, I don't want to. Andor, for instance, I actually thought was going to be a bit poo, and then I'm watching it. I'm like, God damn, this is great. I'm happy to judge something on its own thing, away from any sort of preconceived ideas.
Well, and mentioning that, like, personally, I've never had any real love for Kanye. I've always thought he was kind of an
Yeah, I don't care about Kanye at all.
Overpraised. I don't see where he's some musical genius or anything like that. I
Nah,
mean,
I never saw that.
the biggest laugh I got out of him was the whole like "I'm gonna let you finish" shit and George Bush don't like black people thing he pulled on Mike Myers, and shit like that. Like these things make me laugh, but outside of that,
Mm.
I don't care for the guy one way or the other. I think he's a bit nuts, and he's
Well,
clearly
but
somebody who's used
he
to getting his
definitely is.
way. But yeah,
He definitely is, and he even said on that stream before he left was that, when you become famous, you stop maturing. You're basically a child. And I was like, that's a bloody profound thing for him to say.
yeah.
And also acknowledge it. He's like, I've just had handlers. I'm basically learning how to count. I'm basically learning how to run my own business now. I've never had any of this before. And you're like, oh, okay. He's actually more self-aware than I gave him credit for. But he is a bit, he's got problems, definitely. He 100%
Well, and
has
sometimes
problems.
that honesty can be enduring to people too. So
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Night King 01 says this is why Lex Friedman and how Rogan are more popular than Tim Pool. Tim Pool's not an interviewer. If you take anything from this stream, don't watch Tim Pool for the guests. Just don't watch Tim Pool to listen to Tim Pool's repetitive opinion on things. Fergal Kelly says off topic, saw Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, wasn't too bad. I
I
enjoyed it. Did you
loved it.
watch?
I
Did you love it?
fucking loved it.
Wow. All right.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. It just clicked with, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 are probably in my top 5, if not top 3 Marvel movies of all time.
Mm.
So I'm already like kind of biased towards it. But I
Yeah,
don't know if
yeah,
I don't know what I was necessarily expecting, even from the trailer. But I got
yeah.
so much more out of it than what I was even expecting. And as always, James Gunn seems to deliver in some way, shape, or form. And in this
So,
case, it was firing on all cylinders as far as I was concerned.
so I really liked it. Didn't like Mantis's portrayal. I thought that was really odd
Um,
and shouty and angry. I was like, what's going on there?
I see what you're saying. I didn't mind it so much though. I liked it, and I liked how they treated the reveal of her being Peter's sister as kind of,
That was really
not
touching
like
at the
this
end.
huge kind of thing, not to get too deep into spoiler, because it comes out right away in the show. Like they don't
Yeah.
even save it for like the end or anything like that,
It
like as
was
far
over on
as the
Twitter
audience
anyway,
knowing.
so I think
Yeah.
it's fine.
But in that sense, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. For the humor, they do have a bit of her and Drax going back and forth a bit too much and the yelly, screamy stuff. I see what you're saying there, but I thought it was kind of fun. I mean, maybe her comedic range is only that, I
Shallow.
guess. I don't know. I mean, I like her character overall, though. Her, just the way
Yes.
she, especially her and Drax play off well together. I thought that was a good teaming. I mean, obviously they were the teamed up because of the two cheapest actors, probably, but still,
Well,
besides
two
Sean Gunn. But
cheapest,
yeah,
but also two stupid characters, right?
exactly. Yeah, that would totally misunderstand this whole thing. Yes.
And played off against each other so well. Because she's like, oh, so what's that? This is like a little man or something like that. It's not a little man. Like, what was it? The ornaments and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the candy cane. She's like, this is clearly not a
Yeah.
man. You thought this was a little man.
And when they're absolutely wasted outside the bar, and she's like, "Where do you know where Kevin Bacon lives?" And she obviously pulls out the pamphlet. It's like that would be like $20. She's like, "I
Yeah.
don't have any money. Give me your money."
And it worked out just fine, right? It was like because there was a lot of times I'm like, how are they going to find them? I'm like, of course they're in California. There's got to be somebody with like a stars to the map
Oh,
thing, and there was, so it all just kind of played along. Sure, some of it was a bit predictable, but you know what? It didn't matter because to me, it
yeah,
just it hit all the little notes it had to. Kicking off with that great song, the hilarious song they had with the old 97s, and then just
yeah.
playing into the whole Kevin Bacon thing, like he's got a band and he's also a star, and him talking to Kira Sedgwick on the phone and just playing it up that he's
Oh,
this movie star, kind of thing. And the whole movie stars are assholes. And I don't want to give too much away. It was very well done. For those who haven't seen it, I can recommend it highly. It's probably
strong
one of the
recommendation.
best things that Marvel has done in a while. That's for sure.
Yeah, massively so. And interestingly enough, there was an article on the Hollywood Reporter or Deadline saying how this is how they should do things in future. I'm like, what? You've been praising them for doing this interconnected universe, and now you're like, 45-minute specials where they don't connect to anything is the best thing. Like, what? I mean, what you want about? It's just because Marvel Phase 4 was garbage that you're now saying this is how they should do stuff. Like, for goodness sake. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, the special was brilliant. It was really, really, really good. The detractor the detractor elements of it weren't even detractor stuff. So what did you think about the set pieces? Because I thought they looked really cheap. Like I thought it looked like a TV set, right? But
Well, I mean,
I didn't
it
care because it was
it's supposed to be.
in
Yeah.
tone and I thought it worked.
Yeah, outside of the obvious location stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. A very much a one set piece kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just like
But
they
that's
went in a
very
studio
indicative
space.
of these kind of like holiday specials, right? Which also I kind of bought into the whole joke of, even though we know that they're just doing it with Mantis and Drax because they're the two
Mm.
cheaper actors, probably besides Sean Gunn, like I said, who's also plays a fairly prominent role in it.
I thought he was
Um,
really good actually in this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just basically like that's the way these things always are, right? Like you always get like two of the characters. They're not exactly the main characters, but it's a spin-off kind of like little Christmas special thing that we used to get
Yeah.
back in the day. It clearly James Gunn knew exactly what he was doing, right? And that's what
Yeah.
is great about what he does is he doesn't shy away from it. He doesn't play coy with it. It's like this is what I'm giving you. The only thing it's missing is like a Rankin and Bass stop motion sequence, basically. Like
Mm.
we got the animated sequence at the beginning and the end, but we didn't get like that's the only thing otherwise I could think of that this thing is possibly missing that could be even more crammed in here to feel like a Christmas special.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of the animation, what did you think of that? Because a lot of people have complained about it, saying it's not good. But I liked its cheapness. Like I thought that added more charm. But what
They
do you
should have
think?
done it more in the Rankin Bass style and not Bakshi style. They did rotoscoping, and I'm sure they did it because for two reasons.
Mm,
One, it saves money on doing another set or something like that of the ship that they
mm,
don't have the money for, and also Yondu doing his makeup again.
mm.
Because for that, for Michael Rooker, especially at his age, to be, I'm sure that takes 4 or 5 hours to put that makeup
Oh, yeah,
on
massively. Yeah.
because he's from the tippy top of his head to the chest blue plus
Mm,
some prosthetics,
mm.
and then his hands are completely blue. So for him to do
Yeah,
that takes, I'm sure, a couple hours to do, and you don't want to
yeah.
make him do that, and then they have to pay him more when he does that too, I'm sure. So
Oh, it's more
it's just
time, isn't
easier
it?
to
More
do it in
time on the show.
animation, right? Like it was just cheaper and time, less time consuming and all that business. So because even if you went with, well, we could do it in CGI, well, then it would look wacky. We'd all be sitting here talking about
Mm.
how stupid Yondu looked. Right? And
See,
this way, he's just a voice. So yeah.
I quite liked I quite liked the animation. I thought it worked out quite well. I thought the cheapness gave it a charm,
No,
basically.
I was fine with it. The only thing I would have tweaked would have, like I said, I would have given it more of that, like Frosty the Snowman style animation where you have the characters. Look, I
Mm.
can't remember the name of the artist. Clark, I think, is his last name. I can't remember his first name. The guy who designed all
Yeah.
those characters. Like if you give him
Yeah,
those
yeah.
kind of looks, or if you did it in stop motion, a la Rudolph, maybe. Other than
Oh,
that,
okay.
no, I'm not going to complain. That's just a
Yeah.
minor tweak. I would have, like, if I was on the set there the day I would have, or in the room on the day, I've been like, instead of doing it in rotoscope, maybe James, we should do it like the old Rankin and
Yeah, a
Bass
bit more in
specials. And he'd
keeping
have
with it
been
all
like,
then.
yeah, oh, okay, I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, solid recommendation from you then, and me, it
Oh,
seems.
fuck yes. Yeah. And I think Andre enjoyed it too. I haven't heard his review yet, but I think he enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. Nice. Good. Good. It's nice when people sort of go, "Oh, yeah, I like this." Speaking of which, actually, speaking of Andre, and watching stuff, for Thursday's stream, Troll is gonna be out on Netflix.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try and watch that before Thursday.
Please, well, on Thursday because that's when it's actually out. It is out on Thursday.
Okay, yeah, I might be able to watch it
Apparently,
like Wednesday night at 2 a.m. here or whatever, but yeah.
yeah. I can't. That's. I want to talk about that. That'd be good. That'd be really, really good. So we've got a super chat for $5 from Teague. It says, "What do you think the box office will be for the Grinch parody? And do you think that they should put more effort into these horror reimaginings?" Well, this goes back to what we said on the stream. Cheap
um,
horrors going to come through.
This one is a weird one though. I think they're trying to get sued on purpose.
Really?
This,
Why? For
you
exposure?
look at this thing like I see it like that Joker movie. Like the Joker movie was like, okay, you're calling this a parody, but it's literally like ripped off scenes and things straight from the Joker movie.
Yeah.
Toward this, on the other hand, the story may be a parody, but the designs and stuff look so much like Ron Howard's Grinch movie that they're probably lucky that Universal isn't that litigious. Like
Well,
Universal is kind of like, yeah, on a lot of stuff like that.
I
Usually.
agree, but I don't think because they're not using the term Grinch at all.
No, they're not, but the look wise, like, and I think just
Mm,
because of the fact that they're trying to insinuate, at least through the trailer, that this is more or
mm,
less like a sequel, hence retelling of that same story.
mm.
That's not so much parody as it is. I don't know the exact word I'm looking for, but because it kind of reminds me of the Joker movie that just came out recently, where it really wavers that line of true parody and
Well,
knockoff
that's
and
very different. I
or
mean, they're literally using
I
the
get what
same
you're saying. I get
characters.
what you're saying, but like the Winnie the Pooh thing, they getting away with it because it's the public domain. The public
Yes.
Peter Pan thing, it's public domain.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
because I had a
there's also
few people ask
they're
me
also
why
doing a
we hadn't seen a
Bambi, right?
trailer for this yet, and I'm like, I wonder. Yeah, there's going to be a Bambi one now too, and that
Bambi
one I believe
Reckoning
is
or
just
something like
falling
that.
into. I think that's falling into public domain, which is why, if I'm not mistaken. But
So good.
this
So
is
good.
the
Oh,
thing, though.
actually,
Just the
let's
way the actor looks and the makeup and all that stuff, I'm just like
that's
surprised
great.
Universal hasn't kind of knocked on their door yet, basically.
It's
But
the
anyway,
same
hello, Nick.
actor. Hey Nick, how you doing?
What's going on, guys?
Nice to have you on, buddy. It's actually the same actor who did Art the Clown who's doing the mean one.
I heard that.
Yep. And you can see it like in his sort of emoting, his facial expressions and stuff. Very, very similar. Very, very similar. How you doing, Nick? Anyway,
Good,
it's
good. I just got
1
to
a.m.
a stopping point with work crap uh, that I had to take care of, and I can deal with the rest of it later. But yeah, I'm doing good. Had a good Thanksgiving. Started watching a new show that I fell in love with after the first episode. That's kind of old. Jack Ryan on
Oh,
Amazon. I don't know if you
I've heard
guys
that's
have
good.
seen it, but man, it is
heard good
really
things, but
good.
I haven't seen it yet.
God, it's good.
I got
Like I
sucked
said,
into Tulsa King recently as far as the new
I
shows. Is
I've
started
that
heard that's
watching.
pretty decent.
Yeah, I started watching it as well. I'm on the third episode of that, and just about at the end of season one of Jack Ryan. But yeah, Jack Ryan hooked me for first episode.
Nice.
So good.
well, that's why I brought up Tulsa King, because that's a show that hooked me first episode too. And
Yeah,
even though
it did with me
Andor, I
as
don't have
well.
anything to really complain necessarily about it because I've only seen 3 episodes.
Mhm.
Up until that third episode, that's where I would say, this show wouldn't have been able to hang on to me. But yeah, so
Oh dear,
yeah.
it upset people. Right, so I want to talk about this, which came out of nowhere for me, I think, and I think came out of nowhere for most people, which is let me just remove this. Right, there we go. So Emily Blunt slamming Hollywood's idea of strong female leads, and I quote, "It's the worst thing ever when you open a script and read those words." Love it.
Now, Script Doctor said you normally don't see that in a script, but then again, I can see somebody putting that in a script that's being sent to a lead actress nowadays too.
Well, I can't imagine she's got any incentive to lie in any way, shape,
Exactly.
or
That's what I'm
form.
saying. I could see
Right?
like nowadays them slipping in like a letter in between, the first page and the cover sheet and being like,
Yeah,
your character is a strong woman.
I can believe it. I can believe it. So she goes, Emily Blunt doesn't seem to care for Hollywood's woke characterization of women as the Edge of Tomorrow and Jungle Cruise star, recently revealed that she has no love for the media's recent infatuation with the concept of the strong female lead. And you know what? She probably doesn't like that idea because she played actually good female leads. In The Edge of Tomorrow, she was great in that. She was really, really good.
Doesn't let's say what is the movie that she's in right now? It's out.
I don't know. She's in a few things now, I think.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's another one out right now. That's another one people have been. I can't think of the
Mm.
title, but people are saying it was decent. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, she's a good actor. I like her as an actor. But she goes, it's the worst thing
Yeah.
ever when you open a script and read the words strong female lead. Blunt stated during a recent interview with The Telegraph. That makes me roll my eyes. I'm already out. I'm bored. Very much to the point.
I'm glad someone's saying that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, everyone else is. Everyone's like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
this is boring. Like, Jesus. It goes to what I've been saying for ages, is that in the interest of diversity and inclusion, everything is the same. Like, we just get you need diversity in programming, not diversity per program. Because if you get diversity per program, you get homogenous programming. There are archetypes in every single program, and they're all the bloody same. The stories become the same. And this is what, and they're boring. And this is what she's referencing, You know what's happening there. You know what's happening when a strong female lead is stated. When it's out and out stated, you go, yeah, well, I know what this is going to be then, don't you? And you guys know when you see it in a trailer, you go, yeah, okay, strong female. Yeah, right, I know then. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I guess Emily's being a bit blunt here about it, but yeah.
Way,
Yeah.
But
Oh, I got a button for that.
Oh, there you go.
But no, I mean, I'm glad to hear this. It doesn't make a character just to call them a strong female lead or whatever. It's not what makes the character strong, just saying it.
Yeah.
It's through their actions and reactions and how they play into the story. And I just don't get it, because Hollywood never seemed to used to have this problem with writing movies. Once in a while they'd have a lead character that was female, once in a while they'd have a lead character that was male.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem to be that big of a deal back in the day. Now all of a sudden they pay so much attention to it, that it ruins it a lot of the time.
Well, because at the very inception point of making the movie, they have literally a checklist that must be met for them to hit certain awards, certain funding. This is just this basic fact, ladies and gents. When we talk about box ticking, that's a fact. They have to hit certain things to appease awards, to appease funding criteria. So they write movies with that intent now. That's why. Whereas before they wrote good characters.
Right.
And a lot of the times those characters were genderless in the point of conception, right? When they're writing them, they're genderless. It doesn't matter,
right? Well,
and
of course, Alien,
yeah,
comes to mind when you bring that up, because when they wrote it, they didn't write any of the roles with any specific gender in mind. In fact, they were all written pretty straightforward, where you could put in either or, and it didn't matter. And it kind of also reminds me of this last week here. Tarantino's been, they've been coming after him, but I wouldn't say he's been drugged through the mud or anything, because Tarantino knows how to handle this shit. But, they were like, oh, first of all, they were giving him shit about the Marvel thing. And then from the extension of that, they were going after him for being misogynistic and racist. It's like, time out, hold the fuck on. First of all, go back through his movies, not to mention Kill Bill. Uma Thurman's character is also fairly strong and prominent in Pulp Fiction. Mia. And then also, let's start with Inglourious Bastards. Shauna is a great fucking character, and you love seeing her get her revenge, and she's a very strong take charge female, but she's also vulnerable in some scenes, so you see many different sides to her. And also there's the German actress that's also in the movie too, that I can't think of her name offhand too. She's a great role as well. That's just one movie. I could go on and on about Tarantino, but I only need one fucking ace up my sleeve, and that is Jackie motherfucking Brown, for Pete's sake. It's like, that kills two in one stone. It's like, are you kidding me? He put Pam Grier in a movie when nobody was talking about Pam Grier.
Yeah.
No, she was lucky to get a side role in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, was like her last acting role before fucking Jackie Brown. Then all of a sudden she's in Jackie Brown and she's Pam Grier again. Everybody's like, oh yeah, Pam Grier. I remember her.
I remember that actress.
Yeah.
So Emily Blunt continues and says, those roles are written incredibly stoic. You spend the whole time acting tough and saying tough things. So Blunt then turned to offer a character in BBC and Amazon's history drama, The English, the English Lady Cornelia Locke as an example of a substantive female character that did not align with Hollywood's virtue signaling. So she goes, she's innocent without being naive, and that makes her a force to be reckoned with. I love a character with a secret, and I love Cornelia's buoyancy, her hopefulness, her guilelessness. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, and this character, I wouldn't say.
Well, I guess we're running the stream now.
Oh, wow. Welcome to Mr. H.
Hey, how's everybody doing out
Nick
there?
and Tom are here. He must have had a yeet moment and or his net went out. I know the internet's been acting wonky today, but yeah.
Yeah, YouTube's trying to cancel them.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, it's been after me all day, so maybe it's me.
Oh, that Tom guy's on here. We need to cancel this show.
Well, I was on Culture Casino's show earlier too, and he dipped out too. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I haven't been on at all today. I've been running around and dealing with work crap, so I don't know anything if there's anything breaking that's come out today, I literally know nothing.
Yeah, I haven't really kept up with much today anyway either, but no, like yeah, as far as this female character thing, yeah, like it's kind of silly. And yes, Pam Grier was an Escape from New York. Actually, Escape from LA. I think Pam Grier was in Richard.
There he is.
Welcome.
I don't know what when did it crap out?
You were
Nate got canceled.
Yeah, you got canceled. No. I don't know if Nick was talking or not when you went, but I think you were talking. I can't remember. You were like in the middle of talking about stuff. I don't remember. We were trailing off here.
We really. Well, it's going to be interesting in the edit bay when I try and edit this. Oh, goddamn. Anyway, right.
Yeah, Nate had an article pulled up, and he was, I think, just hitting on some other points on the article.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Right. Well, I don't know what you missed. But basically, you know, she talks about, you know, the character, you know, the roles. Has it done it again? No. The roles are written as incredibly stoic, spend the whole time acting tough and saying tough things. And then she goes on to talk about her other character, basically someone with naivety, innocence, you know, but also being a force to be reckoned with as a result of that. And I think that in itself, just when you compare those two things, right? You compare her saying about stoicism, acting tough, other characters having a sort of a semblance of naivety and flaws, basically. You know, she's talking about flaws at the end of the day. And a lot of these new female characters, the archetypes, they don't have flaws. They don't go on. Well, they're the quintessential Mary Sues, I guess. They don't go on a hero's journey. They just are. That's it. You know, they just appear and they are. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Good times, I guess.
What was that Western movie that she was in that it had a picture of her holding that revolver? Do you guys know?
I don't know. I'm not sure. The movie I was thinking about earlier was actually not a new one. I was thinking of Cicero. I'm like, oh yeah, I just got that. I haven't seen it yet, and she's in that.
I don't know if that's
the English. That's what it is.
Yeah. So it's in the English. Yeah. So that's a new thing.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Brand new.
So is that a Western actually?
I don't know.
It's been a while since we've had a decent Western. Well, actually, Old Henry was okay, but it was predictable.
But anyway, yeah. So I thought that'd be interesting, nonetheless. Right. Let's talk about Avatar: The Way of Water because it's been rated now.
Do we have?
Oh, wow!
Oddly enough, anyone want to guess what this film has been rated?
Same as the last one.
PG-13.
Sicario, not Cicero. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you for correcting me, Chris. I'm sorry.
So it's been rated PG-13 for strong violence, language, intense action, and partial nudity. I don't want to look at no cat titties. All right, I'm not interested in cat titties.
No.
I don't. You know what's funny? I watched Dick Tracy last night. That movie's rated PG. They have a scene where Madonna's on screen for close to a minute, in a completely see-through nightgown.
Oh yeah, I remember that
You
when I was a
can see
kid.
all of her boobage.
Yeah.
You
It's
wouldn't want
only
to look at her
PG.
now. She was like
No,
a
no.
like a
This was in her prime.
just like a mashed potato
But
made
I'm just
love
sitting
with
there
an
going,
alien or something.
how the fuck did they
Fucking
get away
horrendous.
with this in a PG movie? And then, not only that, get the kicker of it is, I went and watched Siskel and Ebert's review of it. They used that scene in their review. I'm like, how the fuck did they get that scene on TV?
That's hilarious.
But anyway, so yeah, cartoon boobies, PG-13. We're not surprised. That's what the first one was rated. So
Well, so when it was rated, that one was rated PG-13 for intense epic battle sequences and warfare, sensuality, a bit of sensuality,
well, there was the sex bit,
language, and some smoking. So sensuality has just been replaced by some partial nudity this time around.
So there's no sex in this one, evidently.
No.
It might have made the movie better if there was.
I don't
Just
want to
saying.
look at a porn parody.
That's what Matthew McConaughey said too.
God
Be
damn.
cooler if there was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they say sequences of strong violence and intense action. So good, I guess. Some strong language, sure. Partial nudity. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know how much this will affect its box office, though, because obviously the first one was rated similar. And it does have a China release now as well. So it's secured that. Which I don't know, and this is important to know, I actually don't know how good that, how beneficial that will prove for Avatar, because China's going on lockdown now, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, hell's breaking loose.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a disaster over
Nate
there.
just froze.
Right
When
when we
did it freeze
Oh,
on?
there he is.
When did it freeze?
Like you had like a very unapproving look on your face.
Well,
Yeah,
what was I talking
disaster in
about?
China.
Disaster in China. I said, all hell's breaking loose in China.
Yeah, so we talk about the coveted Chinese release, and it is a coveted thing to have. The Chinese release is pretty big thing. It makes or breaks a lot of movies. But I don't think it's going to help them this time around, because China is forcing lockdowns again. So COVID, because they're pursuing a zero COVID policy. They're locking people in their homes, and there's also massive protests happening in China nationwide. Protests happen in China fairly frequently-ish, but they're normally very singular. They're not mass protests, and they're not all protesting the same topic. This is pretty new, not saying that anything's going to happen or come from it.
Oh, he froze again.
We lost him again. Oh, he must be having some internet hiccups.
Yeah. But I'm guessing he was going to say with them going on lockdown,
Yeah.
they're not going to be going to the movies. So how much money is anybody going to be getting off of China's movie releases?
Let's not underestimate the power of James Cameron. He may bring peace to the people of China.
Yeah, yeah.
They may all calm down just to see the water kitties.
Yeah. James Cameron has got another movie in theaters. We are taking the lockdowns away for this small period of time.
I'm back.
We were just spreading some fake news while you were gone. That's all.
Yeah. We were kind of trying to continue your thoughts as you were frozen in time over there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what were you telling me? What were you saying?
Well, yeah. Nick finished your thought with, with the lockdown, nobody's going to be able to go see Avatar, but I said, don't underestimate it. It may be the thing that brings peace to China. They will let everybody go see the water kitties, and everybody will be happy.
Yeah, James Cameron's got a new movie out, so
James Cameron will bring peace to the world.
I wish. That is unlikely to happen. And the thing is, like, again, I don't know when it froze, but Chinese releases and stuff, they are coveted for a reason, but not with this, not with lockdowns. Like I that will see, it's difficult because whenever I talk about this, whenever I talk about Avatar, people always go, "Oh, you're an Avatar hater." I'm not. This is just basic fact, right? If you want this movie to do well, you want them to be released in China, but you also want it to be released in China with everyone being able to go there. And at the moment, it's pretty big in China. I mean, CNN verifies protests in 16 major cities in China. It's pretty big, even so much so that Apple has now got involved in well, basically working as an arm of the CCP, and they're shutting down airdrop, regular airdrops in China. They're not allowing it, and it's only gone out of China. Doesn't have, you can find this on Twitter, like screenshots of it all. Basically, they're shutting it down because that's the way people have been communicating. They airdrop things to one another quickly. Here, we're doing this. Go. And that's how they've been organizing themselves and sort of spreading all this information around. Because obviously, WeChat and things like that, whatever it's called, is very restrictive, very censored. So this will seriously impact. This will seriously impact the Avatar 2's release in China massively. And this is only the start. It may get worse. We don't know. Thoughts before I freeze again.
Yeah. No, yeah. And you're not wrong. Cameron kind of needs China to make some money on this movie because as we're starting to learn slowly, they kind of have to reach that $2 billion plateau because the movie sounds like it costs between 400 and 500 million on its own. And that's not including P&A. Once you add that on there, oh shit. Like that's where this movie has to make so much money. And that's impossible. You've basically set yourself up for an impossibility. And of course, we've brought it up a million times over. We've had the same conversation about James Cameron, but let's be fucking real here. Even James Cameron, I think, is starting to realize that, oh shit, I may have bitten off more than I can chew at this point. Yeah. So yeah, he got it right here with a rumored budget of as much as $400 million right there. As I just said, like, yeah, we're starting to learn the truth of this. And that is fucking insane. You should never be spending that kind of money on a movie. I don't give a shit what it is or who's directing or what it's about or what. It doesn't matter. There's no reason.
Yeah, the studio's got to be freaking out a little bit at this point. Like, all right, what did we allow to happen here? I don't see him. I don't see him recouping.
Well, I mean, you can give him a little bit of leeway on the COVID part because I'm sure a lot of this came into being before COVID. Because yeah, the initial plan was a Star Wars movie alternating with an Avatar movie every year for the next decade, at least, was their original plan here.
Yeah.
So we can't completely put the blame on James because Disney built this up on their own too in that way. Like that was kind of part of their quote unquote plan, and they let him shoot 2 movies back to back.
Yeah,
and in that tells me that this movie paid for the big chunk of what they needed to set up for the second part of this as well. So, and at this point, I'll be curious to see if it even does as well as like Black Panther, the second one did.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same thing.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you there.
It just doesn't have any buzz.
No, it doesn't. Have you seen the Avatar YouTube channel? They've been releasing loads of
no,
what would be TV.
I didn't even know basically. There was one.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I keep track. I try and keep track of everything.
Well.
So they've been releasing basically like TV spots, but on the YouTube channel, so they don't have to release them to the public. They just release them there. But so they're hoping, obviously, as a marketing tactic, that uploading them and releasing them there will then get circulated. It seems, as a way to minimize the marketing budget. That's what it looks like. Otherwise, why would you do it? They're like like 30-second to a minute clips of actual just.
Oh, this is not abnormal. A lot of movies have released their TV spots because sometimes they do it just to release them.
Spots, mate. This is the thing. They're not actual TV
clips.
Spots. They are just clips of the movie. That's the point I'm trying to make. Rather than paying for a TV spot, they are just releasing it direct, not as a TV spot, over on YouTube instead.
Gotcha.
See what I mean? Like trying to minimize marketing.
I mean, yeah, granted, there are some where they'll throw up like a featurette or something like that. But yeah, as far as like and clips, I mean, I have seen that, but they're usually the same clips you'd see them do on like a talk show or whatever. If so-and-so come on to talk about the movie or whatever. But, yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. Unless they're trying to use the short system to push these bastards out there.
Not shorts either.
Not shorts either. Huh?
Standard format. Standard format. It'll be interesting. It'll be a really interesting time to see. I'll be
No,
intrigued
I
to
want to
see
give
how
it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm telling people.
I
I've been
want, I
telling
want it
people
to be
for a
good
while. Yeah,
because I'm
it's
going to
just
sit there and watch this fucking thing. So I want it to be good. I don't want to sit there and watch it and it be shit. I'm going to be really angry. Right? I want it to be good just for that.
Yeah, how long is this movie supposed to be?
Over
Like
3 hours, like 3.5 hours or something like that. It's fucking
oh
insane.
god, can you imagine if it's just complete
Oh.
shit and you got to sit there for over 3 hours?
I'm getting
sure.
2 large popcorns, 2 large drinks, and a bag of sour candy. I'll be happy. I'm primed to be happy when I have food. All right, I'm a big bloke. I like my food. All right, so if I have that, I'm primed to be a happy man. If I don't like it, I'm good. Oh fucking god, it's not gonna be good. I'm not gonna enjoy it.
oh, the new trailer for Mario dropped. Huh? Yeah, it was supposed to drop today.
Real quick. So Miss Zen shot in $2 says everybody's been waiting for Edge of Tomorrow sequel. I don't know what's been happening with that. That's kind of just languished in developmental hell by the sound of it, which is a bloody shame. I can't watch any trailers at the moment because my Bluetooth on my laptop is seemingly broken. So obviously I've got no headphones, which is why I'm sort of like trying to move this away from the laptop speakers as much as possible. So can't really do a trailer, unfortunately. Yeah, annoying. Sorry. Right. So I want to get into this now because this is the best thing ever, and I won't hear anything of it. All right, this is the best thing
Cocaine
ever,
Bear?
mate.
Sin
Cocaine
City
Bear.
Cocaine Bear. That's the first thing I thought when I saw the fucking poster.
Yeah, that mate. This is epic.
Frank Miller's Sin City Cocaine Bear.
Look at this, Nick.
Holy shit!
That's a bit of a ripoff there. I'm sorry.
Don't coke the bear.
I know this movie was coming.
Cocaine bared up emoji as well.
I know a thing or two about it, not everything, but I saw that poster and I'm just like, yeah, I think they owe Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez some money.
Well, first and foremost, we'll get your inside scoop in a minute, Tom.
Oh, there's no inside scoop. I just know that it's based on a true story. It's directed by
yeah, I know.
What's her ass from Charlie's Angels, and it's,
thank God it's not written.
It's supposed to be batshit crazy. This might be one of those movies that just surprises everybody. So we'll see.
And Ray Liotta's final performance as well before he died.
That's right. Yeah.
So I mean, I'll watch this because one, Cocaine Bear. I mean, that sells itself, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Cocaine Bear. Why would you not want to watch this? Cocaine Bear.
I don't even know what it's about, and I already want to see it.
Exactly. So this is about a bear that goes on a cocaine-fueled rampage and kills people.
Yeah, he stumbles upon a
duffel bag
full of coke and eats the whole thing.
And this is based on a true story?
Yes, this happened in like 88 or 89 or something like that. Yeah.
So the true story is less great, Nick. Basically, what happens is an ex-narcotics guy who becomes a drug smuggler is flying a plane. The plane's overweight, so he chucks a duffel bag of coke out of the thing. He then parachutes out the plane because he needs to for whatever reason. Parachute doesn't work and he dies, right? Which is just weird in and unto itself. That would make, I mean, that's real life. That would make a hilarious opening to a dark comedy, wouldn't it? Oh, fucking just drop the coke. And then he drops down and then he kills himself. That's hilarious. In real life, the bear ingested a bunch of coke and just died. Just died. That was it. Which is really sad. Like, I don't want to hear about any animal dying.
Actually, are you sure about that? I thought they had to kill him.
No, they found him. No, apparently they found him. Yeah, I read up on it earlier, but he just died. Like didn't kill anyone, just died.
Well, he didn't kill anybody, but I thought they ended up having to shoot him though.
No, well, from what I read, no, but maybe I don't know. So yeah, so basically, what this is, first poster for Cocaine Bear. I'm watching it just on that. Has been released and it features a bear erupting from a mountain of cocaine, which so good. So good. Now it is helmed by Elizabeth Banks, who is.
I guess you're right. He was found dead 3 months later. Okay.
Yeah. So
But
it
actually,
is
the part about the guy jumping from the plane, that part's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true story. Yeah, jumped from the
Okay.
plane and fought a parachute and killed himself.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So it is directed by Elizabeth Banks, which is not good, but it's not written by her. So that matters. That makes it a bit better.
Has she
so
ever
based on
directed a good movie?
Not really.
no,
Because I don't know of one.
but this could be it.
Yeah.
This could be it. So it's based on a true story of a black bear who ingested an entire bag of cocaine worth $15 million. $15 million worth of coke
Wow.
while minding his own business in the Chattahoochee Oconee National Forest back in 85.
That's in Tennessee,
Oh, it was
right?
85. Yeah. Kentucky.
Yeah.
Is
So
it
basically, he
Kentucky?
just ate the coke and died, which is sad, but that's not going to happen here. But this is the funny element of. I love this is going to be brilliant. This is true, Nick. Corrupt narcotics officer Andrew Thornton, who had become the head of an internet ex-narcotics, became the head of a drug smuggling operation internationally, was transporting the cocaine by plane when he ran into engine trouble. So he panicked, dumped the drugs out the door because it was overweight. He was thinking it was overweight, so that was causing the engine trouble. So he dumped a bunch of drugs, and then he was like, "Shit, engine trouble's even worse. I'm gonna have to jump out." So he jumps out, fire parachute, but the parachute didn't open, and Thornton died on impact 50 miles away in Knoxville. Brilliant opening to a dark comedy, I think, about a bear coked out of his face.
Sounds like an interesting, but yet funny and amusing movie.
I just think the fact that they says don't coke the bear, I love that so much. I think that's.
I can't wait for the sequel.
Yeah, what is it going to be called?
I don't care because it's just going to be twice the cocaine, twice the bear. It's two bears.
Oh, I love it. Too much
cocaine
much
bears. Or it's just cocaine bears, plural.
Oh dear. And so this loads of people are loving this. Loads of people are absolutely loving it. People are just like, yeah, love it.
I remember hearing when she was going to do it. I'm just like, all right. I'm surprised somebody hasn't done it yet. Okay.
Yeah. The bear itself is actually on display.
Yes. Yeah.
Somewhere as
And that's
well.
where I thought it was shot because I thought it looked like there was bullet holes in its nostril, but I guess it was just no.
I think that's how they've like stuffed it up, basically.
Yeah, I think.
I just think this sounds great. And interestingly, so you got Kerry Russell, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Alden Ehrenreich, Matthew Reese, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Christopher.
Oh, so it has Ice Cube in it.
Christian Convery, Brooklyn Prince, Margot Martindale, and Ray Liotta. I love it. I think this is great.
Ray Liotta's in it?
It's his last performance. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I always liked him as an actor.
He's really good, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or was, obviously.
Yeah.
Sound tragic. Accident seller for 20 Norwegian kroner says Cocaine Bear 2. It's gonna get grisly.
It's gonna get grisly.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
Did you read the one that you got before that earlier from I think it was Miss Zen?
Yes.
I think you brought it up, but I couldn't remember if you read it or not. Okay.
Yeah, no, read it out. Yeah, everyone's waiting for the sequel to Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, and I read that one out. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, so good. But again, this is what we were talking about. We were talking about lower budget movies, which are a bit more tongue in cheek, happening and being what this movie is going to make a lot of money.
More money than it costs to make, I would imagine. Easily.
It will make a shit ton of money. I
Probably
bet you
more money than it actually should. But
yeah.
but it's kind of programmed. People are sick of garbage, and then they're going to come out with this. People will flock to watch this.
These are the kind of cheesy movies I love from the 70s and 80s, though. Yes.
Yeah. Which actually takes me nicely off onto the next topic, which is Disney's box office disaster, and it is a disaster.
Ugh,
Pretty cute. Oh, what?
Strange World. Oh,
Well, I know it was a strange world that they even greenlit this. So
yeah.
this movie's going to cost them over $150 million. Over. It's going to cost them over $150 million. This is a movie which has a rumored budget, speculative from all information provided, even by main media outlets, between $135 to $180 million. And it grossed $18.6 million opening weekend. It has been marketed. There is a marketing budget as well. And if it costs $180 million, they're up Schitt's Creek.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are up major Schitt's Creek. Ridiculous. But interestingly enough, you have bloody Iger boy being like, yeah, no, we're just going to continue it. We don't care. This is a brand new thing. Did the town hall. And he's like, yeah, we decide what's right. We're going to continue doing it. We're going to continue doing it all. You know, why wouldn't we? We're going to continue doing everything that we were doing before. We're not going to stop. We're happy to keep going, which is just ridiculous. You know, it says Disney will still promote inclusion, but suggested that the company must strike a delicate balance and listen to its audience and have respect for the people that it's serving. Doubt it. That's not going to happen at all. You know, telling stories for hundreds of years.
Rufio, I think he's dealing with a little cope right now because wasn't he the one who was sitting there going, "Oh, the woke is gone now that Chapek's out the door." It's like, no, it isn't.
No,
it just doubled down,
he
dumb
got-
shit.
Yeah,
It's
he got corrected on
Yeah,
that.
the King of Woke is now back in charge.
Exactly. Well, but he even confirms it. So he's like, secondly,
Yeah.
this company has been telling stories for hundreds of years, and those stories have had a meaningful, positive impact on the world. And one of the reasons that they've had a meaningful, positive impact is one of our core values is inclusion, acceptance, and tolerance. And we can't lose that. We just can't lose that. It's not going to stop. You know, I think about Black Panther and the impact that had on the world, or a film like Coco, and how we actually changed the world for the good. It must continue. You've been smelling your own farts too much, mate. You're not changing the world in any way, shape, or form. What are you on about? And this
no
is one of them.
no way the Disney movies are changing the fucking world.
No,
Changing
not
the world.
anymore.
They actually think they're changing the world.
Well, and that shows you their disillusionment, right, or whatever you want to call it. They're
their disconnect from reality.
Exactly my point. Yeah.
We're just sitting on an ivory tower, aren't they? Basically.
Well, and this is what we've tried to tell people. That's why these actors think that it's so important. Is they think this way. They think they're making history. They think they're so much more.
They firmly bought into everything that they've been told from their handlers and the executives at studios such as Disney themselves. And this film is an unmitigated disaster. Like it is, and the thing about this, the thing about this Thanksgiving weekend, right, is the two movies that were predominantly out this Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving week, whatever you want to call it, were Disney movies. And this weekend has had the lowest box office for Thanksgiving weekend since 1994.
Good Lord.
That's fucking terrible. And so when we talk about, it's real bad. So when we talk about, you know, you've got all of these mainstream media outlets going, oh, it's breaking records. Why haven't anyone reported on that? The two Disney movies that are out, Black Panther, Strange World, this is like opening weekend, right? Have caused it to have the worst box office weekend since 1994. That's a record, isn't it?
Which is actually kind of weird because that's the same. I'm looking at the movies that came out that Thanksgiving in 1994. You had not one, but at least three big movies. You had Star Trek Generations that opened up November 18th, which would be the week just before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The Santa Claus came out November 11th with Tim Allen. An Interview with a Vampire also came out the same day. And all three of those movies managed to gross within the 75 to 100 plus $1 million range.
That says a lot, doesn't it?
I mean, there was some other garbage that came out at that time. Low Down Dirty Shame, The Page Master, although that became a kind of a cult hit later on. It flopped at that time. Junior came out. It did okay, but it was also kind of a flop for Schwarzenegger. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein came out, didn't do well, but also garnered a cult following later on. Again, but even then, that's the lowest. That's not too bad for a low. This is a all-time low then.
It's almost like when you watch
way below
when you watch the stock markets and it's like hit the bottom and you're like, wow, it's at the bottom, and then boom, it just drops even more, and you're like, shit, I didn't think this thing could go any lower.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? So not only did the film fail to meet original expectations, but has a reported budget of between 135 to 180 million dollars. So there's been loads of different reports on the deadlines. Anthony D'Alessandro said Strange World cost 135, which was my initial statement of it. But then Variety's Rebecca Rubin says the $180 million budgeted Strange World. So, this article puts it between 335 to $450 million to break even, which is about right. It has had a marketing budget. They were marketing it. They weren't
not as much as a normal Disney movie, but yeah, I'd say it's a moderate to medium.
Yeah, I did see a commercial or two on it over the last week.
Yeah,
a lot less than they did. What was it, Encanto that came out last year or whatever?
Yeah,
I've seen way more got released. Black Panther too.
Agreed. I mean, even if you're looking at having $135 million budget plus, I don't know, round it up to $200 million all in for marketing as well, plus 40% for theatre cuts, they're still massively down in the hole, hugely down in the hole, losing ridiculous sums of money. Just crazy. And the thing is, a lot of the statements from people that have watched it is one, like the animation, people are sick of this kind of animation style now. They think the animation sucks. But also you think to yourself, well, where did the money go? Because it looks like crap. It doesn't look good. How do you spend that much money? To put it into perspective, I think Blade Runner 2049 only cost $150 million. So what the fuck?
Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, what? Absolute madness. Absolute madness.
Yeah, this goes back to bringing up a question that I brought back in a previous show that we did. At what point in time and at how much of a loss is Disney going to have to be at before they're like, okay, this obviously is not working. Maybe we need to change directions here.
Well, apparently there is no end to that because Iger's already come out in this new town hall saying that, again, like they're committed to it. They're committed to it.
And I can't remember if it was on a previous show that we did here or if it was on, or maybe it was Tom talking about it on another stream we were on. But I heard somebody mention the fact that I guess Disney is getting a lot of political money from the left, and that's basically covering their losses. I don't know how much of that's true or how much money they're getting from political parties on them pushing this stuff, but
funded by like BlackRock and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? So the creators of like ESG and ESG scores and DIE, diversity and inclusion and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's all to do with that realistically, but it's not, the money pot's not endless, right? Like at a certain point, they still got investors. They still got to meet, financial calls and stuff. I mean, it can't. I don't know. I mean, look, we always say it can't continue, but maybe it will. Maybe.
Well, and it was seeming to dry up a bit from what we had heard and noticed. And then, but what has happened here in the last couple of weeks is a culmination of a few things. And yeah, what Nick is talking about is mixed between some of what WDW Pro has been told from his insiders and a lot of speculation on Cameron Pasha's part, but it's speculation based in some of the stuff that's out there in the press, some of what WDW had heard, and just some of what he has supposedly heard from some of maybe his own sources or whatever, because, he actually hadn't heard about the hire freeze before that came out. And I believe also about the announcement that there was going to be cuts. And again, between the possibility that some of the people that were going to be cut or the divisions that were going to be cut, from what we had heard from WDW Pro's rumor, was some of the divisions that cut into some of this diversity stuff, which
Mm.
BlackRock and a lot of these other companies do have investments in. And
Massive
he had been
investment.
told, is that what kind of set people, a few of them off with some red flags and got this thing kind of bowling in motion? And that all kind of plays into other things that we've heard and speculated about. And that's kind of what Nick is talking about too, I imagine. Where we had also brought up, between this FTX situation, there's, you had Elon by Twitter, which was a big hit to the left. You had Trump announce he's running for president. That just injected a bunch of this political money back into the system again. Because this is what we were talking about before, is
I guess.
that's exactly what happened before, is you had all these political parties and other, people that are involved with the money side of things that were pumping this stuff into the media being partially studios on the behalf of these companies. And if in BlackRock is one of the, has, is one of the many companies that are part of this too. And I can't remember the names of the others, but shouldn't even probably mention them anyway. So point being is, like basically what we're looking at is a situation here where, and we don't even know, they're trying to paint it like Chapek was supposedly doing some shenanigans himself. It could stem from something that had to do with that $6 billion discrepancy in the parks. I don't know. I brought that up, but we don't know. We may never know unless there's some kind of legal ramification for this. But at this point, it just appears to be that Disney made this move for both political and financial reasons. I understand why they did it, but I don't think it's going to fix the problems. And we've had a lot of conversations in the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Well, it's they said it. They said the quiet part out loud. They're not going to change. So it's done. Like that's absolutely done. And it was anyone with any common sense said it from the start that Iger and Chapek are two cheeks of the same arse. They're no different. Nothing's going to change at all. And then, vindicated on this straight away. Like it's not going to happen. Not going to change. Some weird feedback there. Don't know whose line that is. We've got some super chats. Accent Seller for 20 Norwegian kroner says Coke Bear 3. This time it's personal. Second movie is Scarface with a bear from Gary for £2. Love that. Say hello to my little paw. No, that doesn't. No. All right, I see myself out. Oh dear. Right, we do. Next topic is Samuel L. Jackson randomly chiming in on the Quentin Tarantino comments.
Oh Jesus!
I know. Yeah.
No,
really,
Sam, don't do this to me.
Yeah, stay out. Just don't say anything.
So for those that don't know, for those that aren't aware, Quentin Tarantino said.
So I preemptively brought this up, evidently.
Pretty well, yeah. So he said it pretty fine. I don't see the issue with what he said. It was all. Do you have what he said so you can kind of quote it?
I don't have it in front of me, but I've heard it enough times now that I kind of. He basically said, "Look, I get where Martin Scorsese is coming from. These movies are basically the movies made by committee." He called it the Marvelization of movies. He's like, this is something that's taken over Hollywood. And to me, I like it because it's what I've called the McDonaldization of movies for years. It's the same concept, right? It's a movie made by committee, basically made on a conveyor belt, one just like the last. It's not one singular vision. They are made to do nothing more than to sell toys, Happy Meals, you name it. That's what they're basically made for. And he also went to the other side of it, though. And he says, I understand, though, where some of the young people are getting up in arms about this because they don't understand where Martin's coming from, in a sense that it's the same thing like what I'm going through right now as a filmmaker. He's like, do they even make my kind of movies anymore? Because this also was come off another conversation I just watched recently, too. He added a little bit more to it, where he's like, I'm on the verge of making my last movie eventually because they were talking about his 10th movie being the last one. He's like, he goes, I want to go out on top. I don't want to be, struggling to make movies that are relevant for the next few years. I'm just that old guy who's out of touch. He goes, that's kind of what, you know, he's like, maybe these are movies now, but he goes, that's the thing. He goes, I've talked to younger people and they always ask me about these Marvel movies. And I'm like, I'm a Marvel fan. If these movies
Yeah.
were coming out in the 80s, I would probably love them too. But
Yeah.
these are not cinema. They're not a singular vision. They're not you know, and they don't have movie stars, right? Like he talked about how in the 60s, 70s, you know, well, since the beginning of time, up through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you had a movie star sell a movie. It was the vehicle for the story. It
Well,
didn't,
Samuel L.
instead it was
Jackson was one of them, right?
exactly. And now we've had the opposite happen where he's saying is like, you know, and he's not saying anything that even a few Marvel stars haven't said, where they're flat out saying is that the movie star isn't the star, it's the character, right? Captain America is the star, the Hulk is the star, what have you. It's not the actor anymore. To where he was talking about, you used to go to a movie because it was a, you know, a Clint Eastwood movie or a Kurt Russell movie or what have you. Now
it's
that's
like,
not the
it's an
case. You
Iron
go,
Man movie. I'm
right.
going
And
to
he
see
also
this.
pointed out, he's like, kids haven't seen any of these movies like this. He's like, for the last 20 years, all these kids have grown up with is when you go to the cinema, everything's either Marvel, Star Wars, Harry Potter, some IP franchise. He's like, these kids have never seen a movie like Chinatown or Taxi
Yeah.
Driver or Godfather. Like they don't understand that those movies can exist. So at the same time, he's also kind of saying he's kind of becoming the dinosaur here at the same time, which saddened me. But he's right, because unless Hollywood's willing to make these kind of movies again, we're fucked. Even Top Gun isn't a good argument for that, because yeah, Tom Cruise is technically one of the last, you know, movie stars out there, I guess you could argue. That's still a sequel to a movie, right? It's still technically a franchise of sorts, so it's still not an original thing. And that's the thing. What's the first? John Wick is the only thing in the last 10, 20 years that's been like an original property, aside from The Conjuring, that's really taken off, right? We don't have the original films like we used to anymore.
No, you're right. And then Simu Lee, whatever his name is, chimed in and basically called Quentin Tarantino racist and all this kind of nonsense, as he always does. And now the latest is Samuel L. Jackson chiming in. So he's challenged the iconic director over his recent comments about Marvel actors not being movie stars. So filmmaker Quentin Tarantino obviously said about the Marvelization of Hollywood, so kind of been over that, you know, and explained why he doesn't consider Marvel actors to be movie stars. So loads of people agreed. None of anyone with half a brain cell agrees. Simu Lee didn't, and Samuel L. Jackson has now weighed in as well. Obviously, he plays Nick Fury in the MCU, and has worked with Tarantino on many of his films, and I think owes a lot of his stardom to Tarantino, and I think owes a lot of his notoriety to Tarantino. Obviously, he is part of the reason why he's
100% of his notoriety, if you really think about it, because before that, Samuel L. Jackson was always playing, you know, like the guy who stuck up McDowell's in fucking
or the
Coming
guy
to
that drove the
America.
truck in the heist.
Yeah, exactly. He
Good
never
stuff.
had like these huge roles like he did in Tarantino films.
Yeah, well, I mean, he played the side character in Jurassic Park that gets his arm ripped off.
Exactly. Those are the kind of roles he had until Tarantino put him in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. So he's worked with Tarantino numerous times, and the two are said to be good friends, but Samuel L. Jackson definitely doesn't share his frequent collaborators' views when it comes to what constitutes a movie star. It takes an actor to be those particular characters, and the sign of movie stardom has always been what ass is in seats. What are we talking about? Jackson said.
I think Jackson's missing the point. I really do. I don't think he's actually heard him.
Well, he does continue a little bit. So when asked if he had a response to Tarantino during the interview with Entertainment Weekly, he says, "That's not a big controversy for me to know that apparently these actors are movie stars. Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther. You can't refute that. And he's a movie star." So he's taking it way out of context and just going, well, what's that? He's kind of conflating the two, really. Like,
yeah.
Whereas Tarantino's splitting the two off completely differently and saying, well, look, people are not going to watch Black Panther for Chadwick Boseman. People watched Black Panther for Black Panther, and then as a result of that, Chadwick Boseman became synonymous with the character of Black Panther. But make no mistake, people didn't go to watch it for Chadwick Boseman. They just didn't. that's not the case, right? Like they didn't do that. And but Samuel L. Jackson is like, well, bums are in seats, bro. So all good, man. They're all movie stars. Like, what? No, you're missing the point entirely. What are you on about?
Yeah, he obviously didn't understand what Tarantino was trying to say.
Yeah.
No, and if that interviewer was smart, they would kind of give him a short take on it. And then also, I mean, from my point of view, you got to look at it like this. Name me one person who was in a Marvel movie that wasn't a movie star before they were in a Marvel film that's a movie star now.
Well, Samuel L. Jackson.
No, he was a movie star before.
Oh, I thought you said, sorry, I thought you said
the other way around.
Yeah,
There's basically one person I can think of and one only. And that's even kind of a meh. Chris Pratt.
Oh,
and that's because he had it, but that's a meh because he was on Parks and Rec and shit like that before. But other than that, he was probably one of the, yeah, exactly. So he's outside of everybody else. Either they were already an established star or they became a star because of Marvel. And even that is kind of stretching it because the only other one I could think of is like Chris Evans. And he even had somewhat of a career before he became, because he was even in another Marvel film before that. Exactly. So that's even an argument that he kind of was almost a movie star before that. So again, I reiterate, name me one, because they haven't. They always bring in either somebody who's big or they become that star because of that. And they still haven't had any major careers break off of there. That's why Simu Liu is out there trying to make a name for himself right now, because nobody's talking about him. He was already a done subject before the movie came out, and he could tell that he's not benefiting from this. Just like, we heard, what's her face from Star Wars, who played Rey, what's her name? Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, this Star Wars thing hasn't helped my career. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. You've worked more than anybody else after this movie. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Sorry. Your British accent sucked there.
I know, but it's what she sounds like to me.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I've got to tell you, sorry.
I see a couple people saying Chris Hemsworth and Tom Holland. And sitting here thinking about it, I can't really remember them in a whole lot before they played in Marvel movies.
Tom Holland, I don't remember anything before he was Spider-Man.
No, Tom Holland is that's a good example of somebody who's kind of become a star because of Marvel. Like, he was like the it kid because of being Spider-Man, I would say.
Chris Hemsworth? I don't remember what he was in before, and he was in stuff. Remember, he's in Cabin in the Woods, wasn't he? But he's just in stuff.
Yeah, he's probably the only other example besides Chris Pratt, I suppose.
Yeah, but he wasn't a star, though, was he?
No, he wasn't a star ahead of time. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so that's probably the only other person, maybe.
Robert Downey Jr.'s career was in the toilet.
It was in the toilet, but he was well established. We all know who the fuck he was. Right. Same thing with even Mark Ruffalo, between Mark Ruffalo and what's his face, who played him before, Norton.
Well, no, but it's important to note as well, though, isn't it? Right. So you look at also some of the people that were mega stars under the MCU, and then look at the movies they were in subsequently when they've left. So Robert Downey Jr.'s movies since he's left, not really done that well.
Outside of Sherlock, no.
Yeah. And so who are people going to see it because it's Sherlock, or are they going to see it because Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. Same with Chris Hemsworth. Ghostbusters 2016.
Well, Chris has ups and downs. He has.
He did really well in Extraction. So
yeah, I was going to say he's had
I liked
some
Extraction.
That do okay. But then for every Extraction, he's got a National Lampoon's Vacation or Ghostbusters 2016. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just dumb stuff. Like, Samuel L. Jackson. People have said, well, Tarantino was taking a shot at Samuel L. Jackson. I don't think he was.
Oh, hell no.
Like, that's not what he was saying.
He would sit there and go, Sam was a big fucking star before that. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Or he'd be like, I reject the premise of your statement.
Yeah, I reject the premise of that statement.
Oh, dear.
Did you guys talk about Chris Hemsworth, just speaking of Chris Hemsworth and him saying that he's about him not being happy with Phase 4 and how he doesn't want to come back to play Thor?
Talked about that on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, that he's basically done completely. And it makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Why would you not? Why would you want to go back to that? Just real quick, get us some super chats before we move on to our last topic. Accident Seller for 20 Norwegian kroner says, say hello to my little cubs. Love it. Gary for £2 says, Cocaine Bear 4, party with Lindsay Lohan. So, someone shared a picture of Lindsay Lohan again.
What is she doing nowadays? Anything?
Well, someone shared a picture of her in a prime, and fucking hell, she looked all right. Jesus.
Yeah, she wasn't bad.
Well, maybe it's just that picture then. She looked. I did a double take. I was like, whoa. What's this? A Quiet Place, cough, cough.
Oh, talking about new movies that have come out that have been successful.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that was pretty successful, wasn't it? That was pretty successful.
I don't know how the second one did.
Not massively well. Did all right. That was in
enough,
like peak lockdown, though. In fairness,
I say well enough that I think they're getting a third one anyway.
Yeah, they are, and a spin-off. So a third and a spin-off.
Yeah.
So technically 4, I guess. Accident Seller for 50 Norwegian kroner says, I agree with Tarantino. It's like the Batman movies. You don't go to see Bale or Pattinson. You go to see Bruce Wayne Batman. Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you do. Absolutely, unequivocally. And I think that's actually it for super chats. Yeah. So just as a quick one, ladies and gents, in the description box, you'll find all the channels to everyone that's here. So Tom over at Midnight Stage After Dark, subscribe. And also Nick from Echo Base Network, that's linked down below. But you'll also find, linked down below, Mr. H Reviews live archives. Should be pinned at the top of this chat as well, I think. That's where all these streams go now, and also where clips go. I get like 2-hour plus streams. They're long. I don't have time to watch them, even when I'm doing other stuff. So I understand you guys don't, and so I clip a lot of stuff. The whole streams are there in a playlist, but if you just want to look at individual clips of topics, check it out. Subscribe to that channel. Would mean a lot. And also, hit that thumbs up button. But let's get to our final topic, which is funny, but also a little bit tiresome all at the same time. And this is, we're talking about The Witcher again. I know, ladies and gents. I know.
Oh, is there an update on this situation?
Well, there is and there isn't. It's more funny than anything else. Now, look, I'm under no illusion that petitions mean, literally fuck all. All right, we all know that, right? Petitions won't do anything. They're never going to do anything. But the funny element of all of this is more specifically that they're announcing a huge spin-off, right? There's a new spin-off show just whilst a petition to fire the Witcher writers and bring back Henry Cavill has now crossed 260,000 signatures, which is actually a significant amount of people when you take into account the disinterest most people have in the show. It's a relatively small fan base.
Yeah.
So that's quite a lot of people signing that. And I just thought it was funny. One, that you're announcing another spin-off show. Why? And the spin-off show that they've announced is actually for the least liked group in all of the books. And I don't think they're in the games either. So they're very specific. They're in the books. And most people hate them. They're the Rats. It's like a little group. It's like a young adult group, basically. Great. Or good time.
I'm sure the fans were begging for them to do that spinoff.
Oh, massively. Hugely, in fact. So basically, what's it going to be? Well, the streaming service is going to they're going to milk this. This is Netflix's plan. They've done fan fiction in The Witcher Blood Origin, completely made up, completely made up crap, right? And then they're like, yeah, we'll do some more stuff. We'll make some more stuff, right? So the new thing is centered all around the Rats. This is an infamous group of young Nilfgaardian misfits. Apparently only 1 or 2 of them are actually Nilfgaardian. And they're heavily featured in Ciri's storyline in the books as she joins their ranks for a time. Though the characters' small screen counterparts will first meet them in Season 3's 7th and 8th episodes. The Rats are expected to feature heavily in Season 4 of The Witcher, but their spin-off will arrive before that. So it's like an interim spin-off show about characters that no one's interested in. That people hated.
I'm guessing this series and these spinoffs are going to just nosedive.
They're going to bomb.
Yeah.
Massively. And again, you got to remember 260,000 signatures is a lot for such a small fan base now. And so this is it, right? Change.org. I'm under no illusion petitions mean nothing, but it's a good representation, right? Because for every one person that signs these things, there'll be like another two that thought about it and didn't because they can't be bothered. You got to remember that. So this signature, this petition, basically called for Henry Cavill's return and to fire the show's writers, and it crossed 266,000 signatures. Remember, there'll be additional people that wanted to sign it but couldn't be bothered because who the hell cares, right? And that's a direct result of Cavill leaving because of the show's writers not keen on any of the source material, laughing at it and stuff like this. So this is not going to be any good, and this is what you've got to look forward to. Anyone that was interested in this. So here we have. Here's the group, the Rats, right?
Wow.
Sure, fine, I guess. Like, who gives a toss? But look who they've got to play him. Don't they just look super charismatic? Like you want to watch them run around the screen? Yeah,
they look like a bunch of people that came out of like Seattle or Portland.
Oh,
right out of
like
Antifa
Chaz,
or something.
Chaz of Portland or whatever it was
Yeah.
called. So there's two, and these people are Netflix cohorts, right? They're like in with Netflix, so that's why they've been, cast basically. They're in with Netflix, and they're just young adults, right? They're just young kiddies. Again, look at this. Is definitely from Portland.
Oh yeah. Jeez. Well, check those boxes off.
I love it.
Wow.
I don't think there was any more. No, there wasn't. So.
Wow, that haircut, man. Jeez.
Oh, that is like a bowl cut, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's judging me right now.
Terrible.
Oh, mate.
Terrible.
These people never look happy, do they? Like,
no.
They never look happy.
Ugh.
Oh, so funny. So funny. So anyway, Netflix's The Witcher decline is just going to continue. This is what they're happy to do. This show, Blood Origin trailer, that absolutely got lambasted on YouTube. All the comments are like, fire yourselves, quit, you're terrible. Yeah, but where's Henry? It's just constant. And now they're going to announce this. But again, we go back to this because we've said it before. It's like, right, okay, so when are they going to realize? I think they do, and I don't think they care. I think they're just going to milk this show to oblivion just for content because they've paid for it. So they might as well.
Yeah.
And then they'll just bin it. They'll kick it to the curb once it's a dried up husk of a property that no one gives a fuck about anymore. I bet you that's what they're going to do.
No way this gets past the season 4. I'm calling it right now. Right now. No way.
The Witcher's not, no, because The Witcher 4 will start with Liam Hemsworth, so they'll have Henry Cavill gone by that point. New Witcher, it's going to be gone, done, not happening.
I'm curious how they're going to explain that, or if they're just not even going to explain it and be like, "This is the same guy. He just looks different, guys." You know.
But for real, he's the same guy. Trust us.
Yeah.
I don't reckon they'll address it. I reckon they'll just keep it as is and just leave it. I can't see them addressing it because it would be too awkward for them to address it. I think in show, I think they'll just leave it and go, oh, whatever, who cares? Is what it is. Sure. And I don't think they care either because they know that. I doubt. Do you really think that they think they're going to last more than season 4? I don't think. I reckon they know the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
They're just going to crack on until, like, the writers, for instance, they don't care. They're getting a payday, so they'll just keep going until that payday's milked up, and then they go, fine, whatever. I'll move on to something else.
On to the next project.
Not my fault. It was racism's fault for some weird reason, you know. That's what it'll be. That's what it'll be.
Mm.
Tom, you've been awfully quiet during this.
Oh, I have very little. I have no Witcher. No, I've never played the game. Never read a book.
Neither have
never watched a
I.
show.
Oh, you didn't watch the show, right? That makes
No,
sense.
I have nothing. No.
Yeah.
I watched the first season. That was it. Coach watched the second season, but I don't even think he finished it. I think he got like halfway through before he checked out.
Damn. Not good. So yeah, Witcher doomed. Netflix will just keep milking it like the cash cow they bought. Basically, that's all it is. That's all it's going to be for them. I said to Tom on this stream as well, so I'll say to you, Nick, on Thursday's stream, what is releasing Thursday that I would very much like you to watch if you can?
All right, what is it?
Troll, that Netflix kaiju movie.
Oh yeah, is it out?
On Thursday, it's out. It is out on Thursday.
Oh, on Thursday. Okay, so is it like for us? Will it be like Thursday morning at like 2 a.m. or something?
I guess so. I don't know.
so.
I mean, I had an email come up with it releasing on Thursday, so hopefully it's going to be the same for you guys, because that'd be great if we could watch that and bring that to the table on Thursday. That'd be great. Coming out Thursday, 1st of December, Troll.
All right, I got it on my calendar of things to do, and I'll watch it before the stream on Thursday.
Epic. I got a message Andre to get him to do it as well. Hopefully he's got time. I know he'll want to. He's got to represent the Norway and all that, isn't he? So
yeah,
I can't show.
I know he's super excited for the movie.
Yeah,
He's looking forward to it.
It looks so good. Accident seller for 20 Norwegian kroner says, "Fucking hell, what's that? Coke Bear 6?
I don't know.
Coke Bear 7. Sorry, dude.
17.
Where's my cub? 17. Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, dude. Where's my cub? Brilliant. Love it.
My favorite one from before was Cocaine Bear versus Crack Panda. That's the one.
Yeah. I saw that one.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Love it. And that does about wrap it up, ladies and gents. Nick, what have you got coming up, buddy?
Do a chill stream tonight, and we've been getting lambasted with freaking comments on our Andor final review.
Oh no, sorry, no, we're not done. I've got to talk about Star Wars Theory, his hate for bricks and screws in Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that clip. Yeah.
What was that about?
Yeah, he was.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he's not a fan of a lot of the set design stuff and a lot of the props used, which I didn't dive that deep into it. I never noticed that stuff.
There's been bricks in every Star Wars movie. Yeah, there's always bricks in Star Wars movies. But yeah, but they look, and he made a video coming out and made a video to clarify it, and he's like, oh well, you know, those kind of bricks just took me out of it, and I'm like,
I never even noticed it.
Who cares?
I never even noticed it. The thing that was worse to me than that was the AK-47s that they use.
Yeah, that I can believe. That I can see. What
I was like, really, you know. And then a couple of things that I just noticed personally is that they were using CPU heat sinks for one of the flashback scenes that they're dipping. I was like, that's a CPU heat sink right there, you know, like, because I'm in IT and I see that stuff all the time.
Episode.
Yeah. And
I remember that,
most other people probably wouldn't recognize something like that, but I did. But the main thing for me was the AKs. I was just like, oh, come on, guys, you guys could have come up with a better weapon design than something that's iconically noticeable for Earth here, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was just hilarious to me. And then Wikipedia was tweeting out, taking the piss, like tweeting out pictures of bricks. Which is your favorite brick in the Star Wars universe?
Oh wow, I didn't even see that. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. Oh, it's absolute gold. Look, absolutely hate the show, sure, but when you're commenting on the fact bricks are in it, when bricks are in every single Star Wars movie or show, you kind of sound like a try hard to hate it at that point. You know, you kind of sound like you're you're trying to find things to hate rather than just naturally coming to you. Because I mean,
see, that's normally not which is surprising because normally theory is like, you know, I think liking things a little bit more, or coming off that he's
it like
liking things
Rise
a
of
little bit more
Skywalker, didn't he?
than he actually does. Yeah, he
Hmm.
actually came out and had good stuff to say about the Rise of Soy Walker, and then later on he came back and kind of flip flopped a little bit there and was like, "Oh yeah, I hated these movies." So, and then recently he even came out talking about the sequels and how they damaged Star Wars, and how he basically hates the entire sequel trilogy.
Oh, I had to get that in at the end. I had to talk about that, even just for a few minutes, because it made me laugh so much. The fact that it was trending on Twitter and like Wikipedia chimed in on it as well. That just made my day. Which is your favorite brick in the Star Wars universe? Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow. Because during the whole series, Theory was pretty much liking the episodes. Like if you ever watch his recaps, because he'd always watch it live on stream, and then he'd talk about it after the episode ended, and he seemed to enjoy pretty much every single episode for the most part. And then
I guess it depends, doesn't it? Like how it
and I don't
rounds
know if he's just like one of those people that, you know, he's watching it and just in that moment he's just like, okay, yeah, like this is good, and then later on, after like dwelling on it, he's like, oh, okay, I didn't really like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, who knows, right? Like only he could say that. He's not really, you know, here to sort of say anything like that. Just on face value, the whole comment on the bricks. I mean, that's Star Wars Lego out for him, isn't it? Really, so many bricks. So many bricks.
I'm on a cocaine brick. Like Chad is saying, that makes cocaine bantha.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. We actually had one of our biggest live streams ever was when we had Star Wars Theory on, as well as a lot of other big YouTubers on. I believe Tommy, I think you were on that stream as well, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And but now we are blocked from Star Wars Theory's channel, and we have no idea why.
What?
Yeah, we tried talking to him about it, and then he got really annoyed with our messages about it, and basically told us just to stop, that he hasn't blocked us. And we're like, oh, we're not saying you personally blocked us. We're just letting you know we are blocked on your channel, you know. But he didn't want to hear it, so yeah.
Why would you want to hear it if you didn't do it? You'd be like, oh, sorry, I'll unblock you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's thought, you know. And he's just I don't know, man. He's just a unique individual. That's
I'll just leave it at that. Way of saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, look, he doesn't like bricks. All right. So
yeah,
and on that note, we will we'll round out the stream. So you might be doing a stream later on, Nick. Tom.
Yeah, we might do a chill stream tonight.
Perfect. Tom, what are you going to be doing? You streaming on Midnight's Edge After Dark?
In about half hour, 35 minutes or so, give or take. We'll be going live over there, so follow me over there.
Who have you got going over there? Who's there?
I don't know. It
did anyone spam a wall of H's in the last?
We got a few. Not enough to make a video out of. One individual really went out for you though. But
good. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, you've half let me down, chat. All right.
We'll try again this week.
We'll try again. All right. Yeah. Whenever you see anyone streaming on these shows, my chat, you need to spam their chat when they stream.
The H crew.
With just constant H.
Or the H team.
I think it'd be hilarious.
The
H team. That's what we should call these streams.
Me and Tom were on the same page there.
An elite force.
Yeah. And I need someone to do an A team rip-off intro, but the H team with me, Tom, Nick, Paulie, and Andre. That'd be gold.
That'd be awesome. If
someone can make that, just superimpose our heads on
it. I pitied a fool who missed his program.
You've got to make Tom Mr. T and just send me that intro. That'd be gold. I'd love that. That'd be brilliant. Right, anyway. We'll round this one out now, guys. So please do give the stream a like and all that good stuff. But thank you so much for joining. We're streaming again on Thursday. Panel will be fully complete on Thursday, and hopefully we'll be giving you guys a review of Troll. I know I will be watching it to make sure at least I can talk about it, and hopefully everyone else can as well. But from me, Nick, Tom, peace out, everyone. Take care.
See you guys.
Oh, you got a super chat.